All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, as we're here on our Sunday morning tradition, continuing on here in our 15th season as we are getting ready to get the week started because it is a big week in the NFL as it's the NFL draft that's going to be coming up here soon, plus a lot of other things that are going on as far as the sporting world. And we're going to cover that, and we go ahead and let's bring him on in. The man, the myth. He smiles. He's seen the in green room. He smiles every time he sees this. It is the one, the only. It's the Podfather. Good morning, Podfather. How you doing?
I have a big question. This has really been bothering me. How come the
Okay.
two clocks behind you say two different times?
Say that again.
The two clocks behind
Because
you say two.
because the batteries are dead. The
Okay.
batteries, yeah. It's just
So unprofessional.
it is what I'm too late. Again, I'm not climbing myself up to that to get it. So I'm
how high is that?
not messing with it. So
How high is that?
it's not the fact that it's high, it's a bed behind it. So it's just like I'm not crawling and trying to stand on a bed.
Oh, let's do that.
Do it.
Well, we got on camera. Let's see you do that. Come on, do it for us.
Yeah, no, don't
Your
think
fans
so.
are wanting
Unless you want to see a blue moon, that's not happening. So, but anyway, the Couch Potato Sports Show
Well,
up.
happy birthday to me, Jesus. Don't get what
Yeah,
I'm
hey, by the way, you and my wife share the same birthday.
Well, obviously, great people, except for me, your wife, Hitler. I mean, we're all in the same category.
We're all the same. Yeah, we're all there. Anyway, the show being brought to you by this week again, Mint Mobile. Make sure you check it out. Mint Mobile, $15 a month. Make sure you get on over there, check that out. I don't have to pay a mobile bill until August of 2025. You gotta love it. Gotta love it. I love me some Mint Mobile. So, being brought to you today. Now, that being said, we're going to be talking a lot about, one of the biggest stories of the week is, of course, is going to be the NFL draft, and it's going to be coming up Thursday and Friday. Big night Thursday, always the big night. So we'll be definitely diving into that, especially when Cuervo gets here. So we will be taking a look at the draft, what's happening as far as that is concerned in today's show. So watch out for that. That's going to be it's going to be good. Now, there's other things until we can get Cuervo in that I want to touch up on as far as some other news outside of the NFL, because we do talk other sports up on this show, believe it or not. But the big story, I think, that is developing, getting good. And I wanted, we briefly touched a little bit on the WNBA last week, and we talked a little bit about it. But this week became the WNBA draft. And of course, you've got the situation with Caitlin Clark headed on over to the Indianapolis Fever team with the first round draft pick. So it was really interesting. I want to pop this up there. Take a look at this. I mean, come on. I mean, even your team can't outsell Caitlin Clark. I mean, come on. I mean, what's going? I mean, I'm wondering what the whole situation. I mean, I get that she's new. I get that, but damn, you outsell an NFL franchise in sales.
Well, there's more women out there than there are Cowboy fans. So I mean, that's not fair to say. I mean, it's a very broad audience.
Interestingly enough, the WNBA, just to kind of give you an idea, and the NBA, women who watch the NBA is at 38%. And I think that's a pretty high number. I think that's a good. Could you imagine if that 39% went on over and started watching the NBA or the WNBA and what's going to be like? Interesting also enough, what's happening on the area of the WNBA. They are selling out tickets in certain areas. Obviously, Indianapolis is one as far as the season tickets are concerned. They're sold out. Now, I don't know how many that amounts to. I'll be honest, I don't know how many tickets that is to sell out season tickets. But interestingly enough, we are seeing a emergence of the WNBA getting, I guess if you want to call it, the recognition they deserve. What do you think?
Well, I mean, and I was talking to Melissa about this yesterday because we were having my birthday dinner, and she was talking about Caitlin Clark. Of course, she's really big into women's sports, like women's soccer is a big thing for her. And
Sure.
and I, and I was like, here's the thing. Yes, she only makes $78,000 a year on her contract because
Hmm.
that's all they, because that was collectively bargained by all the women in the WNBA. Now, she also made $10 million off Nike, so she's going to get her money. Okay,
Right.
and she'll get more eventually. There's more endorsements coming out. I'm sure McDonald's or whoever else is going to turn the corner and go, "Hey, this woman's version of Michael Jordan. We're going to really bank off of her." Great.
Mhm.
Thing is, this is a good. I mean, the WNBA got their foothold into the sports world by becoming the WNBA. They needed a star. Now they have a star. Now they got to have more stars because you can't just have a league based on one star. It doesn't quite work that way. While Michael Jordan might have been the guy, he was on the coattails of Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, people who've already established that organization. WNBA doesn't really have that. Yeah, they've had a couple women's superstars that I couldn't tell you who they are, and that's a
Sure.
problem because they were not branded and they weren't brand names that you would think of. I mean, Cheryl Swoops may have been one of them, but
Of course.
but once again, that may have been one of them. Was my key phrase. Whereas you don't question Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Wilt Chamberlain and guys like that who have actually made their name in the NBA. And here's Jordan coming off that and taking it to a whole different level. We're starting with her, which is awesome. And because of her, the collective bargaining agreement will go up, in the next couple of years.
You would
She is
think.
now, and I've heard that wherever she plays, cities that have an actual basketball NBA arena might try to move their current venue over to there, just to get the
Yes.
ticket sales, which is huge. But it's gonna take. I mean, it starts with her. Now, in 4 years, hopefully, maybe sooner, because of college is what it is. There's another player at the Iowa who is just as good, if not better, who's a freshman right now. Maybe she'll come in on over here down the road. Maybe I don't know what her name is yet because she's not a brand name. But there's other players out there. This is good. This is good for them, but it's a starting point. Let's just not sit there and go to the end all be all right now. This is the starting point,
You would
and
think.
because of that, and getting the celebrity endorsements they're getting. She was on SNL last week. Clearly, it's a step in the right direction for them, and good. I'm happy for them. Will I go see them? I mean, I live in Ardmore, so that's a hell of a drive to go see
Right.
women's basketball for me. But I'm not a big. I don't go see a lot of men's basketball these days. I used to go to the Maverick games all the time back when they were losing. So I mean, because getting a ticket to Arena was not a big deal at all.
Of
And I
course.
and you and I are about the same size gut wise. Trying to find a seat that fits our fat ass at the AAC is hitting a hit and miss. I'm telling you right now. You gotta be that
Yes.
you gotta be in that suite level and the second level to be able to have the seats that are more affordable. Because up in
Yes.
the cheap seats, it hurts. You sit up there, you are
Yes.
stuck. I went to go see Bon Jovi there a couple years ago for my birthday, or as a birthday gift for me, and it was uncomfortable as hell. It was uncomfortable as hell
Right.
because couldn't get comfortable. I mean, it sucked. I mean, how I saw Lady Gaga at the Ranger Stadium, that was even better. I mean, the seats. By the way, the sports owners know how big and fat sports fans can be. Why do they want to hurt us?
I don't know.
What
I
the
think they
hell?
hold it again. As Boy George will say, "Do you really want to hurt me?" And it sounds like yes, they really do. They don't have much of love for us big guys when it comes to those seats. I know
They
exactly
don't.
what you're
They don't
talking about.
care. They don't
I
care
fully
about
agree.
us.
No, no.
No, I mean, hey, I mean, if in their world, they're like, listen, these fat asses get in shape and come by to go see our show. That's how it is. Oh, maybe we
Yes,
can't. Okay, maybe we can't. Maybe we have hip problems like I do. Okay, so I mean, it is what it is. So
they're worse than airline tickets, man. I'm telling you, it's bad enough. You
yeah,
know,
but
you try to get on these planes.
yeah, but the thing about airlines is that they'll take one look at you and go, "Okay, you're a two-seater." So that's gonna be another $75, sir.
Yes,
You know,
yes. Yes, yes.
so
They're
thank
not
you,
they're
Southwest
not
Airlines.
as nice, you know, not as nice, I guess. So, but I don't know. One of these days they'll figure it out to where it's not so horrible for me to go to a sporting event. You know, it's same thing with the airline. I mean, why can't they make those airplanes just a little bit wider, just to give anybody a little bit more space? It doesn't make much sense to me.
You
I
know what
mean,
though? You know, though, getting back to the WNBA though, gotta remember one thing about the WNBA. They're a league that doesn't make money. They haven't
right,
made money before this. Okay.
right.
They have an opportunity to generate a little bit of revenue. I say a little bit because we're talking about one player, one person, one team. Okay. If you,
And it's got
now,
to start with somewhere, and then what they should do is start with the branding with her. Get the other what's the one from LSU? I forgot her name. They need to get with her and get with Brittany Grinder, because these are names that if I know who you are, because it's WNBA, don't want, but if I know who you are, these are the guys that are gonna put eyes up on the product, and they need to work with it a little bit better and get that branding done to where people recognize
well,
it and want to see it.
but now, Brittany Grinder, she's the one that was overseas that got arrested and got put in jail for a little bit, right? We had to bail her out
Correct.
somehow.
Place for the Phoenix. Place for Phoenix.
Okay. Once again, she might be someone untouchable when it comes to sponsorships, though, because people know the name for a very bad part, and
Right.
I'm sure she'll outgrow it. But I mean, as of right now, she's probably not the one on their list saying, okay, we got to get TV deals for this person, this person, this person. Oh, probably not her. So, I mean, again, you can outrun that eventually. I mean, some people do. Well, unless you're
Right.
OJ, then you can't unrun it. But you know, I've watched a lot of OJ stuff this past week, so it's been kind of like hit and miss with the whole OJ thing. By the way, why does it take for him to die for people to sit there and go, "Hey, let's call up Kato Caitlin and get him back on TV again"? Why? Why are you doing that to my TV screen? And now all of a sudden,
Well,
yeah, I think he did it. Well, where the hell were you during the trial, jackass? Where the hell were you
it,
during the
it,
trial? Well, I don't. He
it
may
made
have. I don't
no
know.
sense. Makes no sense. That cracks me up. By the way, I heard about that
Yeah,
too.
but it's amazing because I've been watching. It's amazing to watch. Going on the OJ thing. How many African American sportscasters, athletes look at him now and go, "Oh, he was guilty. No doubt about it. He was guilty." We didn't say it then, but we're going to say it now. But here's the thing: he was guilty then. Now, and going as you said last week, the 30 for 30 OJ thing was phenomenal. And it wasn't about did OJ kill his wife. It was more about let's put the police department on notice. You know,
Absolutely. By the way, did you watch the 30 and 30, or did you watch the other one?
I watched them both. I didn't watch them this week, but I watched them before.
Yeah,
And
the one I like, the one I think that dives into it really well is the 5 episode one,
yeah,
which I
yeah.
think is
I mean, the first episode was pretty much all about the civil rights thing in L.A. and how bad that was at the time. This
yeah.
and that.
Okay,
And
very good. That's the one.
once you get past all that, then you get back. You jump back over to OJ, and then they're going, "Here we go." So it takes
Yeah.
about. I think episode 3 is when they really get into the murder.
Yes.
So,
well, about the middle of number 2, the second episode, they start getting it. Now, that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. Hold on. We got someone in the green room. Let's bring him on in. Co-host of the program today, Cuervo. Good to see you, my friend. Where you been?
I've been everywhere. Like Johnny Cat.
So what's going on? So, always good to see you on a Sunday. Thank your wife for coming out to play. By the way, got a story for her in today's show. So we'll definitely be talking about that. But we missed you last week. By the way, shows being brought to you this week and next week and one more week after that by Mint Mobile. I'll talk to you a little bit about that as we go on. But Mint Mobile here, check it out. I got a year and 3 months of service, guys. I spent $160 and I don't have to pay another telephone bill until August of 2025. Guys, it just doesn't get much better than that. That being said, that being said, Cuervo, you weren't here last week, so I want to dive a little bit into some of the things because I wanted to get your opinion on some of the things that ended up happening last week. Of course, the big news, last week was the fact that O.J. Simpson has passed on. So I wanted to hop into you being from that area, not necessarily in L.A., but at the time when this whole thing went down, were you were right around that area? What was the feeling around that area when that whole thing went down with O.J. Simpson and the killing of Ronald Goldman and his wife Nicole Brown?
I mean, I think it was the same that it was anywhere else, which was, it was really unexpected because just, a few weeks ago, you saw him riding around in his vehicle, and he didn't look like he was in the last stages of cancer or anything like that. So it was kind of like one of those where his health just declined fast, like within the past couple of weeks. I mean, it just happened really quick. So it was very unexpected. I think people were not expecting him to suddenly pass like he did. But I think people here were just kind of talking more about the football player, because, USC and all that. But, there wasn't really too much about the whole trial and all that. I think they talked about it because, you look back now, we lived through that time. We saw it all happen as it was going on. Younger crowd, half the stuff you would tell them about it, they wouldn't believe it. Like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me they interrupted the NBA finals for this? Yeah.
Split screen.
Yeah, it was on a split screen. This guy was riding in the Bronco live during the NBA finals.
You were like 10 years old, right?
Say that again?
Go ahead, Trey. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he had a gun to his head too, if I remember correctly. So
yes, yeah, he was pretty much threatening to take his own life. He had I think if I remember right, he wrote a suicide note and all that. So,
right,
yeah, it was a really crazy time. As it was,
you were like 10 years old at that time, right? Somewhere in that area. I was 24 years old, or almost 30 years ago. No, you were 4.
Sonny, how old do you think I am?
I thought you said you were like 35. How old are you, Cuervo? I keep forgetting.
You know what, Sonny?
I can't even find my wallet in the morning. I'm supposed to remember how old you are.
Yeah, I know. I mean, look, this is why I stay as your co-host, Sonny, because I appreciate the compliments. No, I am 41. So
holy shit! So you were about 11 years old when this went down. Do you remember it at all? Yeah. Is it that vivid in your mind?
I do remember it. I do remember as it happened. Yep.
I'm like I just I remember it. I don't remember things left from my child like when I was 11. That's for sure. But I mean, maybe this would have been etched in my mind had it happened when I was 11, back in the 70s, of course. So, but that being said, the trial of the century and everything else, how they botched the whole thing up, you know, I played this last week for one Trey Mack, the Podfather, and I want to take a look. Well, first of all, from your gathering and your understanding, what was your feeling on OJ's guilt or innocence? What did you think?
Yeah, Sonny, I mean, I was, like you said, I mean, I was too young to really understand how all that stuff worked. I mean, just thinking, was he guilty or innocent? I don't know. I mean, I guess the kid in me was like, yeah, he probably is guilty, but as you get older, you kind of learn more stuff, and the thing that sticks out to me that I saw, because I didn't watch every single episode of the 30 for 30 on OJ. The part that sticks out to me the most, guys, I don't remember, don't ask me what episode it was. It was the scene where he comes back home, and you would think a person that was found innocent and he was acquitted of all those charges would just feel a sense of relief, right? This guy's at home and he's like celebrating. Like, what are you celebrating, dude? Like, your wife and her friend, whatever, they were just murdered, and you're celebrating because they, found you innocent of, the accusation. I don't know that many people would react that way.
Or the fact that during the trial, when they went to his house to give the jury an idea of what kind of house that he lived in, Johnny Cochran went to the house and took all the white things down and put all the black things up there so they can go, see, he's all about y'all. Don't worry about that. And OJ was nothing like that at all. I mean, it was so bad. I mean, but once again, this is, I hate to say this, I mean, this is the genius of Johnny Cochran. He knew how to look, you had more evidence that OJ killed Nicole Brown Simpson than you had against him. Okay?
Absolutely.
And it is the prosecution's fault because they didn't win that case. But Johnny Cochran knew that, and he won. He's like, look, we can't beat you in the idea that he may have killed his wife, but we can turn this around and make it about the justice system and about how people are getting railroaded here. Are people getting railroaded because of what happened before? And make him the victim in this entire thing. And he did a masterful job of that. And when Christopher Darden says, yeah, he should try the glove on. Jackass.
Yeah.
No.
I don't claim to be the smartest guy in the world, but I know what happens when the leather is wet and sits for a while. I know it shrinks. But I don't think that.
Plus the fact Johnny and I had told OJ, do me a favor, all that arthritis medication you're taking right now, don't take that for a while. Because you might need to put a glove on and your hands be blowing up real quick. All right, let's do
that. Yeah. But now, and Cuervo, I don't know if you've seen it. I'm going to play it's a 31-second clip. Take a look at this. This is from juror number 9. Okay, after everything went on, here's an interview with juror number 9 about the verdict.
Do you think that they're members of the jury that voted to acquit OJ because of Rodney King?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
How many of you think felt that way?
Oh, probably 90% of us.
90%? Did you feel that way?
Yes.
That was payback.
Uh-huh.
You think that's right?
Payback. Now that's from that is from the OJ on the 30 for 30, the 5 thing. I don't know if it's a 30th. They call it something. I'll remember it one of these days. Made in America. That's what it was. It's called Made in America. So interestingly enough, when I heard that, as far as Yeah, and over the years, I looked into it and looked into it, and it kept in sort of like the JFK. If you're kind of into things like that, you look at what happened to JFK. I've always
Mhm.
followed it. Until then, I just stopped because that knowing what happened in the jury room based on what she said, I was done with it and realized that that wasn't gonna, it is a little bit of payback for Rodney King. So I don't know if we would have got a real, obviously we didn't get a real verdict in reality.
Yeah, no, not a real verdict. We got, like you said, the payback verdict, or what, however she phrased it. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, I mean, I just remember that one clip of him. He's like pumping his fist, and
Yep.
he's happy that he didn't go to jail. I don't know if
Which
my wife
eventually he would go to jail though for something else entirely
for
different.
something else,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
but let me ask y'all a question now. Would he have gone to jail? Because he basically went to jail for having a gun and trying to take back his things. Would he have gone to jail for, or if I remember correctly, they sentenced him for 33 years. He got out in 8 or 9 or whatever it was. Would he have had a shorter sentence had the murder thing not taken place?
Probably
Because
wouldn't have happened, because I've read some information about that, and the actual judge that was in charge with that feeling pretty good about what they handed down to him, kind of a little bit based upon what happened over in LA.
it was
yeah,
almost
I
like
think it would have
it
been
was a
shorter.
full payback. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it would have been
Yeah.
shorter because let's say I go hijack the nearest gas station. I'm not getting 9 years in jail for that. I'm
Right.
like, I don't know how much time you would get, but I'm sure it wouldn't be 9 years.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
3. Yeah. 3
Something
at the
like that.
most.
2 to 3 for robbing a gas station. But
Well,
yeah,
it
this
Yeah.
guy
depends. It would depend if it was your first offense. I
So
mean, this is
definitely my first
not.
offense.
Yeah, then
yeah.
I mean, we're asking because we're questioning you right now. So no.
I wish
Getting warm
that
in
based
here.
upon what I've been watching over the years on this, until I actually saw that, and I saw that about 8 years ago when I jumped into this thing, and we're not gonna find out what that jury would have been. It definitely was one sided, but that being
Mhm.
said, it is a big story. Wanted to get your opinion on the other story. While you weren't here, I got some shocking video. I don't know if you saw it, from Rashid Rice's driving up on the North South Tollway here in Dallas, Texas. This was the accident that they had him on. And you'll see here off to the left hand side right there, you see what happened in this whole thing, as far as the Kansas City Chiefs. Wide receiver, what happened in this whole thing. Watch as they start getting out. Now I lost the picture. I think I had the pictures there, as far as the things that happened, afterwards as they were walking down the street. And if I can find the pictures, I'll put them back up, as you guys look around. But I don't know how much you've been keeping up with that story. A big story in reality. Also came to pass that Andy Reid, as far as the training camp and everything, they were going to be doing a lot of things virtually, which was
Mhm.
a really interesting thing. It's because it sounds like he's not going to be going anywhere for a while, so they'll try to work with him virtually. And I'm just going to ask you, Cuervo, is that something that you think that the Kansas City Chiefs should continue with, or do you think they should cut bait, move on?
Well, first and foremost, Sonny, I thought you were trying to play a joke on us. I thought you were gonna play like another Roadrunner Wile E. Coyote video or something. But
Yeah, but that was
uh,
pretty funny. At least to me, it was.
yeah,
That's a missed opportunity right there.
Yeah, the steroids one. I'll show it to you, Trey, one day, when it pops up in my memories.
yeah, he got me on that one time, and it turned out to be a Wile E. Coyote video. But um, you know, uh, uh, yeah, are the Chiefs willing to deal with the situation? If that's what you're asking, yes. And the reason I say that is because they're willing to do it for Tyreek Hill. And if they're willing to do it for Tyreek Hill, they're willing to do it.
Was that
for-
the wife beating thing? Girlfriend
So,
beating?
I mean, Tyreek Hill has a past, right? We all know this. Between him and Kareem Hunt, well, the Kareem Hunt thing didn't last too long, but I think if I remember right, he played what one season after that, and then that was it for him, or half a season, something like that. But they've gone through this before, and yeah, with Tyreek, it was a domestic violence charge. After he got drafted, he had one before he got drafted, which is why he fell, so far in the draft. And now, as a member of the Chiefs, he had another one. So,
Right.
This is nowhere near as serious of a situation. Thankfully, no one was killed, or else it would have been. But
Absolutely.
not as serious as Tyreek Hill's baggage. So
Right.
I think they're just kind of waiting to see how this all plays out legally. And I think it's also an opportunity to see how Rashee Rice is going to handle himself.
Absolutely.
And,
Good point.
And I think that'll kind of give Andy a real idea of how he wants to move forward. Like, are they gonna deal with this guy? Are they not gonna deal with this guy?
I have a question. I have a question though. Hasn't Rashee Rice been very cooperative with the authorities though?
I don't think he's been cooperative. I don't think he's been cooperative because they had to put a warrant out for his arrest. They should have done that before they were going to quote unquote cooperate. They would have went out before the guy knows he's guilty. I mean, I got the picture. I'll find him for you, Cuervo. The guy's guilty as hell. You seen him getting out, the pictures show him getting out on the street, and he's lucky out of all the things that they put up there, they didn't do a hit and run. I mean, part of the charges are not hit and run. This guy hits these people and he gets up and he leaves. What happened to hit and run? It's just amazing to me. I don't know. But it
was more of a hit and walk away. It wasn't really hit and run. Because clearly the guy can run fast. So, I mean, we're going to.
Yes, I get what you're saying, but that's not the point. You friggin' know it. Anyway, that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. I mean, the charges, I think, yes, supposedly he's cooperating, but if he would have cooperated, he would have went there first. But that's just my personal opinion. But at the same time, you got to understand the legal system as well. I guess you can't really do that in reality, but it still is just kind of sad when I think about it.
Well, I guess what I meant was, like, once he turned himself in, yeah, he did take a little while to turn himself in.
Here's him walking away from it. Yeah. Here's him walking away from it. I mean, with his buddy, not even waiting for the cops, just walking away from this thing. It's just, I don't know what more you need to really see in reality when it comes to something like that.
I mean, should she just stay in the car? I mean, he was getting out. He was getting out of the car to walk away from the actual accident, right? I mean, you act like he's just walking away from the entire thing. We don't know if he's trying to walk away from the accident and get out of the road, or because I mean, she just stayed in the car while cars are still driving by.
Well, I think what Sonny's getting at, Trey, and I don't know if you're just kind of being facetious here, but
I think that's the king of facetious right here.
I never said Sonny. I mean, Cuervo. Sonny was talking what?
I think because Sonny's point is he was fleeing the scene of the crime.
Yes,
and I mean,
was he there when the authorities got there?
Oh, wait, hold on. Okay,
I
hold on.
don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
No, he wasn't. That's the point. He wasn't there, and that's the reason why all this didn't happen. That's why they were looking for him. That's why they put out the warrant for his arrest. But the funny thing is if you go through the list, I put that back up. It explains the charges that were on it. But none of them were hit and miss or hit and run, which it's quite funny. But it's kind of nuts. Never mind the fact these were rental cars as well. Both of them rented out by.
That part I didn't get. The fact that they rented out Lamborghinis or something like that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Lamborghini and a Corvette.
Who in the hell rents out Lamborghinis?
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. Oh. Hey, over in LA, I bet you they got one on every corner. For God's sake, that's just the kind of the way it is. They rent those out, and OJ decided to stick with a Ford White Bronco for him. Yeah. By the way, there's
but he can only go 40. He only go 40 on the highway.
But anyway, but just some of the news that were going on that you missed last week, as we were there, Cuervo. But you know what this week is all about, don't you, Cuervo? I mean, big stuff right here, right? It's the NFL draft that takes place on Thursday. Big week as far as a lot of teams are concerned and things that are going on. And the Chicago Bears all set. By the way, just so that you, I think this is interesting. Take a look at this. This is the result of what your boy is doing there in the front office. Okay. So and the Panthers received Bryce Young because of that trade and everything. This is what ended up happening. And, I don't know, brilliant move, not brilliant move. I don't know, Cuervo. That would, I guess you'd have to kind of ask yourself a question where that is as far as, history is concerned for the Chicago Bears. But I think they made out kind of like a bandit, especially what's going to happen here on Thursday.
Yeah, I would say that this trade worked out in favor of the Bears. I mean,
just a little.
You go back and you look at that picture. Those are all impact play. Well, we don't know yet with Keenan Allen, but we know what Keenan Allen has been as a player in the league, as a veteran.
Yep.
Those are all impact players on the Bears. Darnell Wright had an outstanding rookie season at right tackle. Tyreek Stevenson, I thought, was really impressive at corner. And, of course, DJ Moore is DJ Moore. So,
exactly.
First overall pick in 2024, we all know who that's going to be. We don't even need to talk
well, interestingly enough, Cuervo, I mean, now granted, it just all depends upon what you think about Dan Orlovsky's opinion of whether it be about players or whatever the case may be. I like listening to him. He'll take a stretch and he'll move. And one makes you kind of wonder, in reality, is this a stretch? I mean, is it a stretch? Yes. Could they actually go for Jaden Daniels?
No.
No, you don't think so?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, it's not happening. I'm going to say it for about the 33rd time on this show. With the number one pick on Thursday, the Bears are drafting Caleb Williams. The Bears are drafting Caleb Williams.
Look at all these notable quarterbacks, Cuervo. I mean, they're right in front of you. I mean, you got Caleb, you got Jaden. All these guys are in line here for that number one, number two, number three pick in the draft this year.
Yeah,
Cuervo.
Sonny, I'm not messing with another North Carolina quarterback. Okay, that's one. Number two, Jaden Daniels is going to be the next Justin Fields, and we don't want that again. Okay.
Yeah. What? Wait, why wouldn't you want that?
Yeah,
they didn't want the original one. They didn't want the original Justin Fields.
I am being completely and utterly facetious about that.
Michael, I think Penix is interesting. I just think health-wise, I just think there's a lot of injury history there. A guy named Bo, I'm not touching that either. I've watched the movie Draft Day too many times. And last but not least, Sonny, you're not going to like what I'm about to say. I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be the bust of that group.
I'm not impressed with him, by the way, just to let you know, and I'm
I'm
not
not
impressed
either.
with their running back that they were supposedly so great. But when I watched
One's
Michigan
good.
football last year, Cuervo, it doesn't illuminate into NFL talent. That's
I
just what
don't agree
I
with that.
saw.
I think Corum will be a good running back. He's not going to be a superstar. He's not going to
Well,
be.
this dude's not even taller than me. There's no way this guy. There's only so
But that's-
many guys that can pull off
Well,
what
hold on.
certain guys did in the past with that. And I wasn't impressed with him running the football, and everybody else was. So, but that's just something.
However, he does fit what the running back has become today. Now, and I like to get Trey's thought on that too, because the days of the 6'2" power back, those days are gone. It's all about like the shorter scat back type guys. That's what
it's gone right now. But then let's have a team find a 6'2" running back who goes up for about 1,800 yards first season. Not that will happen, but let's say it does. And all of a sudden, that's the new thing again. I mean, the league is reciprocal. It goes around and round and round. They take something out, they put something in, it comes back to the original thing, and it goes that way all the time. I mean, pretty soon a receiver who's 5'5" is going to be the biggest thing out there because they're so damn fast. And as long as the quarterback has a cannon, he can now throw the defender. We're all good to go. So I mean, there's it's very hit and miss on that because right now that's the flavor of the week. But then all it takes is a new year, and all of a sudden, oh my god, this guy's 6'4" and he's a running back. How'd that ever happen?
Exactly.
But he's tall and he's lanky, and he can stretch. He can stretch himself out for 3 extra yards when other running backs can only do it for like maybe 2 or 1. So it's just it all changes, and once again, it's also how that player played in college. Did they use their height advantage? Did they use their height as an advantage against the defenses? And if they did, will it work in the pros? I mean, not every running back who comes out of college football makes it in the pros. Same thing with quarterbacks. So, I mean, look, Doug Flutie, I know he was a quarterback, but I mean, Doug Flutie was the biggest example I had growing up as far as a guy who was very short, who probably shouldn't play pro football because he's too damn short, can't see over the defense. I mean, pro football wise, he had a hell of a career. Is he a Hall of Famer? That's debatable, but I mean, he had a hell of a career, and he won several Canadian football titles and everything else, and he made it work for him. So it all depends.
Interestingly enough, they talk about Hall of Fame for Doug Flutie. I think I say yes if they included what he did in Canada.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that they won't. They'll only look at what he did in the NFL. If you look what he did in the NFL, the guy's nowhere close to being a Hall of Famer. But if you look at the whole talent of what he did in what's considered Pro Football Hall of Fame, it's not the NFL Hall of Fame. It's the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So whether or not they would include that's always an interesting story as far as Doug Flutie is concerned.
Look at Herschel Walker. I mean, Herschel Walker for the 2 years in the USFL, he tore it up over there. Those yards don't translate to NFL yards. But then the problem with Canadian football is that they also have isn't like 120 yards for a football field, or for it's 110 yards.
It's 50 yards, 50 yards, not just the whole thing. So it is like 110 yards and 120, depending upon the end zones. I can't remember, but
So I mean, there's extra yards you're playing with. But then again, it's the same thing like saying, okay, well, O.J. Simpson rushed for 2,000 yards in 14 games, but now we play 17. and
Oh,
now
yeah.
a player can barely sniff 2,000 yards now. So it just makes
Yep.
what he did back in the day much more of an accomplishment. So I mean, when you have less to deal with and you achieve more, that's kind of it's a Roger Maris thing. Roger Maris had the home run
I
record
get
at
it.
61 with 140 games. It
Mhm.
took Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa 162 to get to where they got to, and then took Barry Bonds just as long to get to where he got to.
Right.
And Roy. So I mean, there's that on top of that. So but it's the ever changing league. I mean, every league is changing constantly. So whether it's for the better or worse, who knows?
Well, interestingly enough, the Patriots are in the interesting spots. What's scrolling on the bottom, and depending on what's going on, and this has actually been talked about, and I'm asking myself why, if you were the Patriots, would you trade out of the number 3 pick? You obviously don't have a quarterback. You've got to find something. As far as your future is concerned, will they go and do Michigan all over again and take JJ McCarthy, which I think, kind of, if you look at Tom Brady when he came out of college, he's kind of the same thing in reality as a JJ McCarthy. Nothing really to talk about, or he wouldn't have been picked in the 6th round. So that being said, I don't know, Cuervo. I mean, knowing what the Patriots are going through, knowing what they're trying, and by the way, I've also even heard rumors that they might try to sell the Patriots as well. It's been kind of rumored around there. What's your take up on the Patriots and what they should do with that 3rd pick?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just all depends on how much they like, McCarthy and Drake May or Daniels, all these other quarterbacks that are out there. I think that you go back a couple of years and you look at a guy like Malik Willis, right? Malik Willis was like, oh, he's going to be a first round guy, and then he goes all the way down to the 3rd round. My point is, I think sometimes quarterbacks, because of how important the position is, they get overvalued in all these mock draft talks and all this other stuff. We don't know what GMs really think of McCarthy. They're not going to come out and say it. We don't know what the Patriots really think. We don't know what the Commanders really think, or who else? The Giants that are being talked about getting a quarterback. There's all this talk about the wife's Broncos trading up. Sean Payton's going to offer a king's ransom to go up and grab somebody. Dude, we don't know. We really honestly don't know what these teams really think of these quarterbacks. For all we know, the only 2, maybe 3 that might get drafted in the 1st round is Caleb, Jaden Daniels, and May. McCarthy and Penix and Bo Nix and all that, they may fall to the 2nd round.
Someone's going to, I think, or will the demand of those teams in reality, I mean, just looking at the draft order, as far as the teams, every single one of the top 5 need a quarterback, except the Chargers, unless they're going to go back. But looking at all of them in reality, I guess there's only 9 because you got 2 Chicago Bear picks within the top 10, but every team on that list could use a quarterback for their except maybe the Chargers. They can maybe wait a year or
Falcons.
so. The Falcons, they got Kirk Cousins, but they still need to go ahead and find a backup or the future after Kirk Cousins.
If they do draft somebody, it'll be later on. It'll be day 2, day 3. But Arizona, I can tell you they're not drafting quarterback. I can tell you that. They've come out publicly and said they're committed to Kyler Murray. Okay, fine. You want to be committed to Kyler Murray? Cool. That's their choice. But yeah, I mean, I would say, the Chargers probably ain't going to draft one. I would say that, hell, the Jets might not even draft one. honestly.
But you know what though? I mean, I was just thinking about this. I mean, granted, if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy for a full year, that'd be great.
Right.
Or at least, or
Gotta find that out.
Yeah, but I mean, if the Jets went out and sit, let's say they got Bo Nix, okay, and Bo Nix got to sit a year under Aaron Rodgers, that'd be really beneficial for him, to get adjusted to the speed of the league, and to also learn from one of the best if he's going to learn anything. And plus, once again, how he played up there in was it Oregon?
Yes, Oregon.
For the last 2-3 years of his college career. Yeah.
So they have kind of a pro set offense. So for him to go over to play in a New York Jets style offense, whatever the hell that is, it would be beneficial for him to sit there and just kind of sit and just wait. And so if he's watching this show, he'll know that Sonny won't bust his ass about, rookie quarterbacks suck. He's going to suck this year. Just let him sit a year underneath Aaron Rodgers and see how it goes. But
just give him a yellow jacket.
Even in the second year, if Aaron Rodgers goes away, he'll suck. So that's just me. But all right. So that being said, all right, these are the last first quarterbacks taken off the board in the last 10 years. Last year, of course, it was Bryce Young. The year before that was Kenny Pickett. And then the year before that, 2021, my Jaguars went on Trevor Lawrence. 2020, Joe Burrow. Remember, that's a COVID pick, kind of interesting. The year before that, Kyler Murray. So the first five up on top, it just all depends on what you think. I think the ones that are on the bottom are a lot worse. From 2014 to 2018, as far as success is concerned, except Jared Goff, he's got a Super Bowl ring, as far as that's concerned.
Sonny, even with Goff, you look at those five on the bottom, none of those guys are on the team that drafted him anymore.
Yep, correct.
None of them.
Even Jared Goff isn't. He's in Detroit.
Exactly. So
interestingly enough,
how quick it just goes to show how quick a turnaround can be with the quarterback position in this league.
Absolutely. It's really interesting to see where a guy can go and what's going on, at least as far as the first pick. And you don't want to be the team that picks the ones that are on the bottom except Jared Goff. You don't out of that whole thing. Now, Kenny Pickett, the first quarterback taken by the Steelers in a long time with their first pick, is interesting. Go ahead, Trey.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. You said Joe Burrow was a COVID pick. What does that mean?
That means that he was picked in the year that COVID was going on. And there was nobody in the stands when he first started out.
And did he still produce?
I'm just saying.
Did he produce?
Say again.
Did he produce well as a quarterback his rookie year?
No, I'm saying he did. Yes, he produced. I mean,
so
it's a different kind of. It's a different kind of pressure in reality. I think in reality, not having anybody in the stands, I think it's a different kind of pressure, and I think he handled it well. I'm not poo-pooing. Hold on. Let me go back to it. Let me pull it back up. So hold on. Where it is? Here, right here. All right. So Bryce Young, not worth a shit. Kenny Pickett, not worth a shit. Trevor Lawrence, not worth a shit. Joe Burrow, he's worth a shit. Kyler Murray, not worth a shit. Baker Murray, now he is, but when he came out, not worth a shit. Mitchell Trubisky, not worth a shit. First year for Jared Goff was average at best. Jameis Winston sucks. Blake Bortles sucks too. Okay, so I proved my point over and over about how bad first-year quarterbacks come in. On that list, there was only one or two that had a good first season as a quarterback. It's just the point. I keep proving my point. Everybody else wants to just think I'm a prick in reality, but
here's the thing, though.
They are just not good their first year. They suck.
It's expected, Sonny. We've talked about this before. It's expected that they're going to suck. They're rookies.
That's right.
They're learning. They're learning the pro game.
Exactly.
So why are you going to knock them for it, though? Why are you going to knock them
Wait, it's not a knock. It's a fact. There's a difference.
These
between a
quarterbacks
knock
suck is not a
and a
knock.
fact. Okay, there's a fact, and then there's a knock. A knock usually has a little opinion behind it. Guess what? Fact is, first-year quarterbacks are not good quarterbacks, and I'm tired of them all being labeled as the what do they call them?
Generation.
Generational or franchise type quarterbacks. Listen, there's no such thing as a franchise type quarterback until you get 3 years under the belt to find out if he is that guy.
Look,
So
the thing is, Sonny, it's all subjective. It's all opinion. It's all what we predict is going to happen with these guys. There's really no fact involved. Unless you've got a crystal ball, and please let me know how Caleb Williams does his rookie year. If you got the crystal ball,
I wish he's
going
gonna suck, but it's just
but his actual stats. That was
yeah.
Facts. What does his stats look like his rookie year? If you could tell me that, then you could present facts and saying, well, he sucked his rookie year. Well, okay, fine. He threw 18 touchdowns and 25 interceptions. All right, cool. Right. Yeah, he sucked his rookie. We don't know that. We don't know what he's going to do.
But you know what? Here's the thing, though. A lot of teams that draft a quarterback as their first pick in the draft generally have a whole lot more problems than just a quarterback, because that's where they got the position that they got to get a quarterback. Because, again, normally high-priced quarterbacks come early in the rounds. And the way you do that is by sucking the year before, or unless you benefited from a trade from earlier. But so you go out and you go get a quarterback that you think is going to be the quarterback of your team for the future. But you still haven't answered all the other problems you have on that team because of free agency didn't work out so well, or your draft just didn't fit the way you thought it would be after you got your quarterback in the future. And then that quarterback has to suffer because of front office decisions. And the fact that he's coming out to the same team that went 3-13 or 3-14 the year before that, and all of a sudden, I'm your only change, really? I mean, you still got the same receiver who drops the fucking ball. You still got the same offensive line that was, the defenders in the backfield in 2 seconds, not 3. So I'm going to change all this around for you in record time here.
Look what the Bears have done. What the Bears have done for your Caleb Williams, your guy. I mean, has stacked up that team, didn't give Justin Field a chance. But interestingly enough, you take a look at what C.J. Stroud does and what the team has done after the season to try to figure out that C.J. Stroud, they're trying to make sure he does not have that sophomore slump. And they went out and they got him they went out and got him skilled players to help him to keep them on top of the AFC South. Because right now, even last year, all the hype was the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to run away with it. Well, you need to put that back in reverse, because that's not what's going on right now as far as the AFC South is. All eyes are on Houston, and look what they were able to do. And like I said, C.J. Stroud, I would have said would have sucked this year, but there's only a few of them that get through and have a good year, and the Texans are doing the right thing by him now.
I could tell you right now, guys, and it's not me trying to be a hater on Houston for what they've done. The moves that they're making, it is a short window for them. And that you can even argue, is that really fair to C.J. Stroud? Because he's only going into his second year. You got to give him, more of a window to win, right? But the way that the Texans are building their team, it's because I'm telling you, you watch. We can go back to this episode 2 years from now. They're going to be in salary cap hell, you guys, because they're going to have to pay
a good point.
They're going to have to pay Joe Mixon if they want to keep him around. They're going to have to eventually start talking about C.J. Stroud. Daniil Hunter, do they want to keep him after his 2 years is up if he continues to produce?
There's no telling on Stephon Diggs. I mean, Stephon Diggs' injury was an injury ready to happen. So, I mean, if he can go the full season, what's it going to be like for year number 2?
Well, interestingly enough, think about the Rams. The Rams haven't had a first-round draft pick in 7 years. Okay, since Jared Goff. Remember, they sold their soul for Jared Goff,
And got a ring.
They got a Super Bowl out of it. But is that what the Houston Texans are going to be ending up doing? As a result of good first year. Without listen, if you don't think C.J. Stroud had a great first year, I'm putting it out there. He had a great season.
he
You
sucked. He
don't
was a
have rookie quarterbacks taking you into the second round of the playoffs. It just doesn't happen very often. So you got to take it.
I think a lot of us saying his praises last year, son. You're the one who sat there and said, "There's no way this is going to happen." So
hold on. I'm not. Wait. Hold on. I didn't say some of them didn't slip and actually play well. I'm saying most of them are up yours, by the way, Podfather. But anyway,
please don't do
one
that
of them slipped through, and by the way, who gave him credit? That was me. So it does happen.
By week 17, you're like, yeah, he's all right.
Yeah. He did. Hey, second round of playoff. Hey, sometimes. Hey, in life, okay. I hate to even do it. Sometimes that happens, and I did. I was right. But name me any of the other first round draft picks that were worth shit. That's
your only drawing card, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but anyway, that being said, draft coming on this week. It's a big week now. That also being said, I want you to take a look at this. I mean, as far as the top 5 picks from last year, and obviously C.J. Stroud is there, looking really good. Bryce Young was the first overall pick in reality. But looking at the rest of them, I think everybody did fairly well within their top 5 based upon their position. Obviously C.J. Stroud having a good year. I love me some Will Anderson. I think they need to figure out a way to get him to the quarterback in reality, but I like the pick for them. And as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, Cuervo, we don't necessarily know what Anthony Richardson is going to end up his second year. Witherspoon was the steal in reality at number 5. He is definitely doing what he needs to do within that top 5. Cuervo, what do you think about the top 5 and where they're actually, after the first year? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to talk about Stroud. We all know how that worked out, but I think Richardson's going to be the one that everybody wants to see if he's going to be the real deal, because he showed flashes, and then obviously with his injury,
right.
I like yeah. So between him and then. I'd be interested to see how Will Anderson does his second year in Houston. He's got one of the best teachers in D'Amico down there to try to get him to another level as a defender, as a pass rusher. So I'd like to see how that works out, especially now that they've got Danielle Hunter down there. How's he gonna? What's the plan? Is he going to be opposite? Is he going to be opposite Hunter, or how are they going to use Will Anderson? So I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to work out. But, those are the two I'm looking at between Anderson and Richardson.
What's your take up on the top 5 there from last year there, Podfather?
Anthony Richardson, did he get hurt during the year last year?
Yes, he did.
So
for the Indianapolis Colts, he was having a pretty good season up to that point, considering he was a rookie.
I think he got hurt like the 3rd or 4th game of the year.
Yeah. Because the numbers right there show he may have played at most 3 games.
Yeah.
3 touchdowns, 1 interception. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, considering the time that he played. Will he bounce back, though? That's the question. I mean, is he able to bounce back and be more productive than he was his first year? Did he learn a lot from just sitting the rest of the year? It's hard to learn from a team that loses a lot, and they lost a lot.
Absolutely. You're right. You're right.
I mean, and you have really nothing to really go for. At that point, you're making phone calls to Peyton Manning and whoever else, and they're going, okay, what do I do?
So, and think about this: the Colts, they're in a division that was able to obviously be taken by anybody if they could put together a cohesive season. I mean, look what the Texans, they had to beat out the Jaguars. Jaguars had to ended up losing themselves out of the playoffs, which in turn, there's a lot to talk about as far as the Jaguars are concerned and what their chances are based upon what Houston's doing. But don't forget, you still have Anthony Richardson up there in Indianapolis. What that situation is all about. How will they look next year with the Jaguars trying to figure out what they need to do to get back up on the hype machine? Because again, last year was the big hype machine for the Jaguars to win that division hands down. So we'll see what ends up happening. Now, take a look. We got the draft this Thursday. So what has the draft looked like since 2000? Well, let's take a look at it. All right. As far as the teams are concerned, teams that have had first round draft picks overall, your Chicago Bears are up there. Cuervo, they've had that first pick before. All of our teams that people, all the teams that are on here except the Steelers and the Cowboys, with guys that are in this club here, have had a first round draft pick as far as that's concerned. So, and that's since 2000. 3 times for the Browns, 2 times for the Rams, but that's when the Jaguars 2 times, the Texans 3 times, and then of course you have the Bengals at 2 and the Panthers as well. So looking at this, those are the teams that were looking at it. But I go back. I don't know the whole draft as a whole, Cuervo. I went back and I took a look at it, and then I found this thing, which I was actually looking for something that put it. Look at 2001 for the NFL draft. And the names that are on this list that came out of the NFL draft in 2001. And you got Hall of Famers all over this thing, future Hall of Famers, some that will slip in. And of course, during the time when I was in Arizona, I loved me Adrian Wilson. That dude was a firecracker. But, looking at all these guys, I know who every single one of them. This was a great draft as far as results are concerned. And you can only kind of hope that the one that's coming up here on Thursday, Cuervo, as we go, that can be somewhat close to this. And I think it does have the potential, depending upon how these quarterbacks are going to do with the team that they'll end up at.
Yeah, if you look at that picture, though, I want to say Vic and Drew Brees are the only 2 quarterbacks, that are on that whole thing. You got potentially 4, maybe even 5 quarterbacks going in the first round alone. So I don't know. I mean, you would hope so. And there's talent all over this draft. All the talk is about the quarterbacks, and I get it. At the same time, though, there's talent at every position.
23 years ago.
Yeah, this was 23 years ago. But going into this Thursday, like I said, I mean, there's going to be guys. I mean, it's a loaded draft. I think there's a big drop off after probably the 3rd round or so. But yeah, I mean, I think this has the potential to be one of the better classes we've seen in a while.
I think you're right. And like you said, other positions as well, whether, wide receiver, lots of good defensive players coming out in this draft.
Yes.
And I think we're going to see a lot of that pick up toward the end of the first round and head into the second round, where they're going to start jumping on these defensive players. Outside, you get outside of the teams that need quarterbacks. Where is the team going to go? And what offensive line is, or I'm really looking at. I mean, because that dude, his name slipped on my mind, coming out of Notre Dame, is a badass. And then there's another one out there. They're all 6'9", and teams that I'm telling you right now, the teams that are going in this draft order, there's a lot of things that can end up happening. But if the Chargers, if for some reason don't go offensive line and grab that guy out of there to try to protect Justin Herbert a little bit more, that's going to be a problem. Unless they decided they lost too much in Keenan Allen, they're going to go after Harrison. That could be a big situation as well. That's a team that's going to be really interesting to see what they do with that first pick.
And they lost Mike Williams in free agency as
that
well.
Too.
So
Yes.
their number one receiver right now on the Chargers depth chart, I want to say it's either Quentin Johnson or Josh Palmer. It's one of those two. And then you got at tight end, you have Parham, and that's it, because Gerald Everett came to Chicago. So he's not on the Chargers anymore. So yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they go receiver, but I think and is Joe Alt, by the way, that's who you're thinking of from Notre Dame.
Yes, thank you. Oh, what a stud. I was watching film on him, and this guy just I don't know. He's going to get a come to Jesus. Don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about a guy I think that has a way of probably being able to figure out what's coming his way. I think he's going to be ready for it.
Do you remember his dad in the league, Sonny? Because I mean, I'm too young to remember, but his father, John Alt, does that name ring a bell?
John Alt, yes.
Yeah.
Big dude too. I think he was close to 6'11", maybe 7'2". So big dude, and getting it now. That being said, of course, that's the name of the show. Catch us on Sundays, whether it's 9 in the morning or at noon, depending on anybody's schedule. It is time for that segment that brings in the Podfather. I'm just saying, as what's going on right here. It's Dak Prescott. Big story for this guy for his season. Dak Prescott is trying to be not necessarily trying to be the highest player. I don't know how much I believe it. Second round here, the two sides have had talks. There isn't anything necessarily in play right now. So I'm gonna ask one Trey Mack, with the fact that you got Dak Prescott being your guy, and the fact CeeDee Lamb needs to be figured out as well. You got a double whammy, and you're going to have two guys taking up a lot of your salary. What is your take up on what you're seeing as far as what the Dallas Cowboys? Obviously, we've seen they haven't done much, but I think that's all because of these two signings that they have got to do in order to figure out what they're going to do for their future come next year.
There's so much uncertainty with Dak Prescott. He's up there in age. He's taking a beating. He hasn't quite produced what Jerry really wants him to produce. So this is it. This is like the Mike McCarthy thing. This is dead man walking. If he can do it, great. Then Jerry will throw everything he can at him. And I'm pretty sure Dak is in that situation now to where he understands the legacy of the position of the Dallas Cowboy quarterback. Look at your Romos, your Aikmans, your Staubachs, or whoever else is. They stayed with one team. They didn't go anywhere else.
Right.
Because the idea that Joe Montana was a Chief for a second might diminish the fact that he was a great 49er. And there's a lot that a lot of players think about stuff like that.
Sure.
This is make or break for Dak. And if Dak can't produce this year, and if you have Trey Lance, or if you have someone else you can go get in the draft, or whatever the deal is, or you have a possible free agent that has a lot of interest coming to Dallas and you're willing to throw everything at him that you didn't throw at anybody this year, then definitely, Dak could go play somewhere else next year. And it's not pretty much, hey, contract's over. See you around, kiddo. That's just that's the league. Now, Jerry, he's so bonded by these players. The way an owner would you like an owner to be? Problem is he's the general manager. And wearing both hats, I think at his age, really, should never be a thing. But that's an argument that we'll never be able to win. So yeah, this is make or break for Dak. And once again, when he said this stuff, he was at a charity auction or whatever with Troy and Roger and all those guys. And I'm pretty sure those guys are in his ears constantly saying, look, even Romo like saying, look, I could have played the next couple of years. Look how much money I'm making doing commentary right now. This is so
absolutely.
So
yeah, why would you pass that up?
No hits and just about the same amount.
And you know, he said, and here's Troy saying, yeah, I led the way. So, you know, whatever. I mean, Rodgers made billions of dollars doing real estate. I mean, clearly there's life after this. He can make a ton of money at. And plus, Dak Prescott is, you know, I mean, he is granted, the league will not let him take the minimum, okay? The players union will sit there and go, no, you'll get your money. You have to get your money. And there's that added pressure with that. Thing is, he can always say, no, you know what? I'm happy where I'm at. And I know my brother don't want me to be here, but I know people that are close to me don't want me to be here. But, you know, I mean, are they out there playing my position? No. So shut up.
Exactly.
And if that means we can keep CeeDee Lamb here, I'm all for it because I can make my money elsewhere. Kind of like the Caitlin Clark thing. She got to make her money with Nike. She got to make her money with McDonald's. She got to make her money with everybody else. Dak will make those sleep experts. I mean, it'll be what it is, right? So, look, to be Brand the Dallas Cowboy quarterback, is different than being Brand the Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and that's not a shot at Jacksonville. That's just time served, time in the league, time earned. You know, and plus the value of that position at that team. You know, and they've had a lot of misses. They've had some hits. So they got 7 rings to go with it or whatever the deal is. So, I mean, clearly they have they got 5 rings. I wish they had 7 rings. But I mean, they have the 5 rings to go with it with 2 of the greatest quarterbacks to ever do that position. So does Dak want to be a part of that? I would think he would. Because now other teams are going to look at it. I mean, you got to look at it this way. Teams are going to look at him and go, why didn't Dallas re-sign him? What's wrong with Dak Prescott? What is that we don't see that they did see? Maybe they're just tired of him.
Maybe it's 58, 60 million is enough for them to say no. I mean, those are the numbers that are flying out over here.
And the thing is, that can be where you work so many different ways, where you can definitely, you know, you can throw him a 8-year contract and, you know, for $60 million and just have a lot of stuff on the back end of that to make it work for him, if you really wanted to. But do you want to do that to a guy who's already well in his 30s? And
come on. When we talk about quarterbacks, usually don't get into the prime until they really hit it about their mid-30s. I mean, in reality. But here's the interesting thing about that: the difference between nowadays. All right, let's just say for a fact that just for instance, that it is 60 million. All right. So what are you going to get for 60 million? The contract that guaranteed 60 million a year. With 2 years, that's 120 million. That was 4 to 5 years on another quarterback's contract, even coming out of college for a long time, or you know, even the studs. So now you're only getting 2 years compared to 3 to 4 years that they would have got for that same 120.
But one thing though,
two.
You gotta look at it this way: are you paying $60 million for a guy who only won 1 playoff game?
And that's where the
absolutely not.
I think where the negotiation is going to have to come in big time.
Because
I'm telling you right now, Jerry Jones is not going to pay this guy guaranteed $120 million. He's not going to do it. So they're going to have to figure something out. I think what they will probably do is give him probably 90 million guaranteed somewhere along the way. But I mean, because I forgot what he got on his last contract, but it was around a guaranteed 90 million that he got on his last contract. So, but I don't think but then that tells you All right, and that goes back to what can end up happening with the Dallas Cowboys as far as guys that are out there. They need a quarterback, right? So let's go back to that. I mean, Bo Nix is on there. Listen, I've been hearing a lot of stuff about Bo Nix, what he could be. A J.J. McCarthy, could he be the next guy? Will they kind of go with the Dak Prescott with Jaden Daniels out of LSU, same place where Dak came from? I don't know. I agree with Cuervo. You couldn't get me to take Drake Maine to save my life in reality because of the fact of the pedigree that comes out of there, which is none. So what do you want to see them do with Dak? What do you want to see ultimately? If you had the GM hat on, what would you do?
I want to see him play this year and then go from there. I don't want to commit to a guy who hasn't done it. And
how much would you commit to him?
I said I wouldn't commit to him until I see him do it. Until he does it, I'm not going to commit to him because, again, I've seen the Dak Prescott show for the last how many years?
5.
And that has given me, it's more than 5, isn't it?
I think it's
He's
5.
had 2 contracts. He's had 2 contracts, right?
Yeah, he's got the new kind. Yeah, maybe it's 6. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
I just you're going
One
back.
that
Do I
Say
I think one for sure that I know of.
one new contract after the rookie contract, and that's where they paid him.
So
it was a big question 4 years ago. So
okay.
maybe it is 8 years. Shit,
right.
I'm a day late and dollar short.
Okay, well, I mean, we've seen Dak Prescott have a 6 or 7, maybe 8-year career in Dallas with an injury that really hampered him for a good part of the season.
The whole yep.
So maybe enough's enough. Maybe if he can't do it, then maybe I got to cut bait and be a business and say, look, if I'm Jerry Jones and I have smaller years ahead of me than I have behind me, or that I have ahead of me, then I need to win now, right? Because
8 years.
This is the Al Davis version of just win baby type thing, and we got to get it now. We can't wait and this and that. This is my last year.
Holy smoke!
Yeah, this is my last year with him. After 8 years, if you can't produce me anything more than just one playoff win, I mean, look,
man, I'm wondering if they even want to do that.
I mean, that's
Forget
why I'm just saying because it's my segment, Sonny. Shut up.
So let Trey say.
Yeah, let me say it, jackass. Anyway, look, I don't give him a contract until I see him get me to an NC Championship game this year. If he doesn't, hey, you had a great career here in Dallas. You put up a lot of yards. You are Walter Payton Man of the Year. You were all this wonderful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you got more football to go play, go find you a deal. And if you don't find you a deal, we'll bring you back at our cost, not yours. And then let him go on. Let us focus on the draft. Let us focus on the guy who's probably behind him. Let's focus on the future. And then worry about tomorrow as it comes. And just don't worry about him because he was a part of our past. That's what I would do. Because after 8 years, and you've given me 8 years of my life with no trophies, motherfucker, we like our trophies. We like our rings. All right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude, the Texas Rangers got a ring recently, okay?
Right.
I mean, the Stars and the Mavericks have an opportunity to win another ring. We ain't done shit in 20-something years. So that's a third of our life right there of you being our quarterback. So no, I'm done. Now, if you come out here and you have a great regular season, you blow the doors off, you have the best regular season any quarterback's ever had, but you give me one playoff win and that's it. You know what? You take that great season you had and go find you a good deal. She ain't gonna be here.
$55.5 million cap hit for Dak Prescott. 66.9 on a dead cap. So, there's a lot of money involved this year. Extending can take some of that money off and things of that sort. But I think I agree with Trey. I don't know if I want to invest in this guy in reality. And then, I know a lot of people say, well, you don't want to get nothing for him. Why not? I mean, if the guy isn't worth a nickel, let him go. Be done with it. But, the value of what you can get for him, it'll be really interesting to see. Cuervo, what's your take up on Dak Prescott? Where is he going to land? Where do you think that is going to happen? And if you were wearing the GM hat, what would you do?
Yeah, real quick, Sonny. So you might see Greg pop into the green room. I gave him the link so that way he can kind of jump in on this one too. Maybe give us some Eagles inside info. But yeah, look, it goes back to what the Podfather said. I mean, he's just saying, and now I'm just saying, you want to get paid like a top quarterback, you gotta perform, you gotta produce like a top quarterback, because with that salary, 55 to 60 million, that surpasses everybody. That surpasses Burrow. That surpasses Jalen Hurts, who's gotten to Super Bowl. Joe Burrow's been to a Super Bowl. Those, you're talking about guys that are getting paid right now at the level of a quarterback that's made it to a Super Bowl. Dak hasn't sniffed one yet. What's up, buddy?
What's up, bud?
He hasn't even sniffed one yet. So there's no shot I'm paying that guy what he wants. I think you could even argue, Trey, that right now he has no leverage to even ask for what he wants, because he's not giving the franchise what they want. I mean, he can't even win a playoff game. Come on.
That's the thing. It's a sports agent who's sitting there going, Dak, you got all the leverage. You're good. What are they going to do without you? Well, I mean,
there's quarterbacks every year, dude. Like,
I mean, with you, we've gotten this. You're a great regular season quarterback, but in order to win a Super Bowl, we got to win the playoffs. That's just the bottom line. And what's your record in the playoffs? Until you give me, if you can answer that honestly, Dak, if you can answer that honestly, you're not worth that kind of money. You're not worth Tom Brady money. Tom Brady money got you Super Bowls with two different teams, by the way. So,
yes,
you can't get us one Super Bowl with one team. Now, maybe you go somewhere else, have a better offensive system, do great things, win a Super Bowl there, fine. You weren't doing it here. And as long as with general manager sitting there going, I'm not going to change how things are going to be, you are what you are here.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. Greg, coming from Philly, obviously this is the NFC East, rivalry. What is being said about Dak Prescott in Philadelphia before we get to Jalen Hurts, of course? What are you hearing about what Philadelphia, people about Dak Prescott and what he may or may not be worth?
They love him. because he can't win big games.
We absolutely love it right now.
Right?
It's straight up
That's your guy.
Cancer for Dallas. It's that's exactly what it is to us. It's you keep paying him that money, so then they can't get no one else. And then when everyone else leaves, like Micah Parsons, and everyone else leaves, I'm hearing talk that Philadelphia wants to bring Micah Parsons to the Eagles.
Yes, there you go. There you go. Well, that being said, we got a situation in Philly with what a tale of between 2 years, from Jalen Hurts from last year to the Jalen Hurts that went and was in the Super Bowl. How are you feeling going into this season regarding your quarterback position? It's a tough one. Oh no, he's froze.
Well,
shake him, Cuervo. Shake him. There he is. Hopefully he'll come in.
Am I froze?
Oh, you're good
now we get you. Yep.
All right, cool. So it really comes down to last year, 2 years ago, we had a solid team going in with offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators on our coaching staff. Last year, in the middle, after going 10-1, it completely just came unraveled.
Yeah.
Derailed. It is an understatement. It exploded like Mount St. Helens.
Why?
It literally, you had coaching staffs from here, there, going different places, and literally none of the players bought into it, and it completely just changed everything that the Philadelphia was going for. I mean, when you put Matt
Mhm.
Patricia, the defensive line, or defensive coordinator out of nowhere, you're firing an offensive 10-1, and now
Yeah, you're
you're
desperate to do
all
that.
game
He's
plans.
going under a bridge.
It's that's the biggest problem with Philadelphia. No one bought into it. No one was into it. All the players looked like they just said, "I'm checking out. I'm done." Um, and then this year we're going to have a new coaching staff, Fangio. Now we're having Kellen Moore as our offensive coordinator, straight out of Dak Prescott's book. He knows what he's going to do, just because he was a coach there. So here I am going with a Dallas offensive coordinator, which I cannot stand. But it's going to be very interesting to see now, because Philadelphia didn't just do one thing; they brought in a completely new style, new offense, new defense. So it's going to be very unique to see this kind of collaboration, I should say, with all the coaches and now these players.
All right, we got you cutting in. I actually kind of between that, I got what you're saying. And
Yeah.
if you watch this show, you know how Sonny Clark feels about one Kellen Moore as far as any kind of talent for any kind of football team, and what he does to a football team when he is there. You spell so I'm worried about where Jalen Hurts is going to be as far as his actual progression to be a good quarterback like he was 2 years ago. Now, also 2 years ago, after the Super Bowl, you lost some talent on the defensive side of the ball, Greg, that you wish that you could have back. I'm telling you right now. And I predicted it. As soon as they started losing those guys. Yes, okay, they'll play good, but something's going to happen. Either A, they won't make the playoffs, or they'll just blow it in the first round because they just don't have enough, especially defensively. What's the team doing to address the defensive side of the ball for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, you can see from the free agency straight off the bat that they caught most of 90% of the players that they lost back. I mean, C.J. Gardner-Johnson's a huge spot that they needed back in that safety position. Then they go out and get middle linebackers, all three of them, corners on both sides of the ball, and nickel spots. So they have addressed the entire defense. They've let go several key players and off of the defensive line, and brought in Huff from the Jets. It feels to me as almost like a trade, really, that's not official, because you
Right.
send one of our players over to the Jets, and then we get their player. So you get edge rushing, you get safety,
Yep.
linebackers in the safety spot, and the
It's
biggest
like a
one that's a
rebuild in
shock.
reality on the defensive side of the ball is what I was going to maybe getting for it as far
Yep,
as that was
it's Nick
concerned.
Fangio's plan. One thing I didn't want to see happen, but I guess it had to be due to a cap hit, was seeing Hassan Reddick go away.
He
So
went
when
to
he
the
went to
Jets
the
too, didn't
Jets,
he?
he went to the Jets. That's why I'm saying it's like a trade. We got Huff, they got Hassan, and then we also got extra draft picks out of it. So it was, I think it's a cap hit kind of thing for me on that one. But then you see Saquon Barkley come to the offense. That's huge. Like huge, huge. If the man can stay healthy, I'm very interested in seeing an Austin Eckler type player behind Jalen Hurts, because now you make it even more dynamic of a player. But the defense is what we needed to focus on, and Howie Roseman hit every single need that Philadelphia needed. And now you have to look at the draft. What kind of young talent is he going to do? Because I guarantee it's going to be defensive first round. If it's offensive, I don't even know who they're going to go with.
Hey, Greg. Greg, I have a question for you. I'm a Cowboys fan. Clearly, I have my own faults. You're an Eagles fan. I accept you for yours. Let me ask you an honest question. Before Saquon Barkley became an Eagle, did you really think Saquon Barkley was kind of a bust in the league? Because I know I did. because
Yes.
every time the Cowboys faced him, we beat
Yes,
him.
I think he was. Yes, but also the Giants never had an offensive line. They
Good
Right.
never
point.
That's
had
true.
the talent that wrapped around Saquon Barkley. If they had a team like if imagine if you had Jason Kelsey still there for the Philadelphia Eagles with Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson, and then you had oh my goodness, I can't even remember his name.
Lane Johnson.
Nope, not Lane Johnson. We're talking Jason Peters. Jason
Okay.
Peters along with
Yes.
with
Yeah. Okay.
with the left guard, all that kind of line with Saquon Barkley. You may say Saquon Barkley getting 2,000 yards a season if he stayed healthy. It was just
See, that's the
the
big
guy.
thing. If he stay healthy, that's the biggest question though,
Yes,
because
It's
he's been
always
beat
the
up so
question.
damn. He's been beat up so damn bad being in New York, playing out there, and let's face it, he's faced all the NFC's teams twice,
Nope.
except for the
Yep.
Giants. So I mean, this will give him a chance to get retribution if he plays them. But
He
I
will.
saw for me watching him as a Cowboys fan, I never feared him as an opponent. I always look at him and go, he just doesn't last. And maybe it was
Or
the
what
Giants.
could have been.
Yeah, what could have been. Again, a great pick, maybe, but maybe he's just a great college player. And didn't really translate to the NFL the way we thought he would. Some players
Nope.
are like that, and I think he was kind of maybe he gets a fresh burst of energy with the Eagles. I hope he does. And by the way, I may be a Cowboys fan, but I love Jason Kelsey. Jason Kelsey is the man. Okay, love that
He
guy.
is.
But
How do you lose your Super Bowl ring in a thing? What was it in thing of pudding
He
or
put
mud or
it.
what? What that?
He
Don't
put
worry
it
about
inside
that.
of a sock, and I guess he put it inside a I guess a skit where he put it inside a bunch of spaghettios or some stuff like that they're having this fun little thing with, and he knew where it was, but somehow he lost it.
It's like,
Drinking
oh
is
my
bad.
god!
Listen, Sonny, listen. I can tell you from last night, especially because my birthday yesterday. Drinking is
Yeah.
bad. Okay, drinking is bad.
And he definitely showed it.
Nothing good comes
I
out of
never
drinking.
seen a guy
Okay,
take off his shirt like that. As far as rooting for another team, obviously his brother's there and all, but that dude was definitely under the influence when the shirt came off. That was a crack up, as far as that was concerned. So yeah, always good to say. And so do you feel positive about the Eagles season this year? Seriously, with all the changes, obviously you got new coaching staff. Offensive and defensive coordinator, new guys on the team. Do you feel good? Because it's all about chemistry in reality. But what a good division to be in if you're going to kind of start over, because you got everybody kind of starting over in reality in this division.
I
Unless you
see
can't,
it mainly going to the question I see is coaching staff. That's the question I have is the coaching staff. Are they Nick Fangio and Kellen Moore? Can they
Yep.
utilize the skills that they have all around that team? That team is fully loaded on both sides of the ball now. I mean, you adding more players with that offense. We've signed every single key player we need to a long-term contract. We've gotten Hurts done. Devontae Smith is done. AJ Brown's done. Dallas Goddard's done. All of them. So now they add in Devontae Parker to go in there to see if he could be a number 3, a solid pick for that one, to see if they can adjust around like they were trying to do with Zacchaeus and others. It's on their shoes. It's on the coaching staff. Can they utilize that talent? Because Howie Roseman's put together a solid squad on both sides of the ball now.
well,
Gotcha.
having Kellen Moore be the Cowboys offensive coordinator for a couple of years. Thank God he's gone. But I mean, I will say this though: when we had him, we scored. Like without him last year, they had our time scoring inside the 20. So, I mean, to his credit, he knows how to put the ball in the end zone. His play calling down the stretch is the issue.
We just lost him.
But anyway, I think his play calling during the stretch was always the biggest problem, and clearly none of that shit worked in San Diego. So,
Yeah, none of it. Yeah. And matter of fact, they might have taken a step back with Herbert's, progression because of him and things of that sort. So that
I think
that
I think he
alone
took his
is,
own. I think he took his own step. Once again, I didn't buy into the Justin into the Herbert camp very much. Between him and the quarterback for the Bills, whatever his name is, Josh Allen, I was never a big, huge fan of those guys as far as buying their stock like right off the bat. But because they still had to prove it to me, and they still haven't done that yet. And they're still that way. The way you are about rookie quarterbacks, I'm kind of that way with quarterbacks who get the really big shine ahead of time, but don't show me anything in the process. And they haven't shown me a lot in the process to make me think, well, they're the next Brett Favre. They're the ones that they're going to push at us right now. And they're not even close. Because at least Favre, to his credit, minus the 10,000 interceptions he threw, he was a good quarterback. So, he knew how to bring the ball down the field and win. These two guys still trying to figure it out.
We'll see how that works. What we're going to do here, folks, we're going to take a 30-second break, Cuervo. Don't go anywhere. It's only 30 seconds, not 5 minutes. And hear from our sponsors here, the Mint Mobile.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Big Wireless has once again raised their prices. In response, we're bringing back our deflation promotion. The marketing department asked me to be as explicit as possible when explaining it. So here we go. Because we don't love f***ing our customers over like Big Wireless. We're bringing back our offer for f***ing unlimited premium wireless for only $15 a month. F*** me to the moon and back. That's a great f***ing deal. Explicit enough marketing.
I'm sorry. That just cracks me up every time I watch it. It's just never mind the fact that I got the service. It just cracks me up.
That's a great Ryan Reynolds right there. How much do you think that guy's worth?
I don't know. He's been getting into commercials now too, just in case.
Just commercial, but the fact that he's co-owner of a soccer team out there in England, the fact that he's got the Deadpool money, dude. Well, that guy has started to where he's kind of come up to now is beyond great. And you know what? Look, there's a reason why that guy is who he is. So kudos to him for being.
I almost just jumped into it. What is he doing for commercials? I got interested in what he's doing there, and I don't have anything to do with it. It's just kind of funny, but just watching it just makes me kind of giggle. But Cuervo should be back here in a couple of minutes. He's just warming up the coffee, and he'll be back. That being said, other things that are going on within the NFL, we just got done talking about Kellen Moore and what he is doing. There are a lot of teams that have made a lot of changes and what their expectations are going to be with the new people. Obviously, we talk about chemistry. Chemistry is always going to be the biggest story of any football team, especially after making moves away from what they did. Obviously, look what Josh Allen's got to deal with without Stephon Diggs. Now he's got to find out if he can be the kind of quarterback that can make somebody else a name. And I don't know if he's capable of doing that or not. As far as what Josh Allen is. Good to have you back, Greg. We lost you there for a second. Got you back. But
I was singing all those praises too, boy. You missed the entire thing. I was talking about how great the Eagles were, but now that you're back, I can't talk about it no more because I'll get hit by lightning out here.
That's okay.
He's lying.
I'll take a page out of David Akers on you if you want to remember 2 years ago.
Oh yes, that yeah. Oh, I love it. Yes, David Akers with
the Super Bowl. These draft picks weren't even born.
That's
love it. Love it. It was such a crack up. I actually saw that like 3 weeks ago. It was awesome. It just cracks me up. But the Buffalo Bills are another interesting team as far as the AFC East is concerned. And with the draft coming up, how they're going to react going into this draft. I forget where they are on the draft order, but this is going to be a vital year for them in reality. And Cuervo, with the Buffalo Bills losing Diggs at the quarterback position, do you
Lost.
expect to see any movement for them to have an eye on a guy? I mean, you lost and you now have a gaping hole at wide receiver without a Stephon Diggs in reality. Go ahead. What?
They lost Stephon Diggs to the wide receiver position, not quarterback position, sir.
Well, I meant wide receiver. You know,
I'm just saying. I know he's a quarterback too. I mean, that's awesome.
but a gaping hole at the wide receiver, Cuervo, and I'm going to listen. I'm going to do what you did. I'm going to warm my coffee up, but I'm going to listen. Cuervo, tough situation for the Buffalo Bills moving forward here and moving into the draft. What do you think they're going to do?
Well, yeah, I mean, they didn't lose just Diggs. I mean, they lost Gabe Davis, and they also lost. Didn't they lose one of the tight ends as well? If I remember right, I think one of the tight ends left too, because they had Kincaid and they had Dawson Knox. But I can't remember.
Josh Allen lost a lot of weapons. So
he did.
So where he's going to filter that out here now?
That's a cap hit. That's all money right there. That's all driven because of money.
It's but you're losing talent too. So, but they did sign somebody, and I can't think of who it is now. They did get a receiver, and I just can't think of who it is. But I know they did sign someone.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, but it was one of the more sought out receivers in free agency. Either way, though, you lose Diggs and Davis. That was your 1-2 combo. Like, I expect Buffalo to stay put. I think they're just going to wait to see who falls in place for them, who falls on their lap, and probably go, get that guy. So whether it's Brian Thomas from LSU or Keon Coleman, Florida State, somebody like that, I think they're just going to stay put. They're not going to trade up. And just kind of see what happens. That's my prediction for Buffalo. I don't see them trading.
Yeah. Here you go. April 9th, they picked up Lyle Collins, former Dallas Cowboy. March 28th, they picked up Austin Johnson and Deshaun Williams, defensive tackles. Then they picked up the offensive lineman Will Clapp. Then they signed Mike Edwards, safety.
Oh,
I'm still trying to find out what. Re-signed Ty Johnson, running back. Extended Teron Johnson. They signed Curtis Samuel.
That's who I'm thinking of.
So they got Curtis Samuel, which is always the guy you're glad to get, but you forget why you got him. That's really about it, though. I mean,
yeah.
I can't think of anything. There's no one else big on offense.
Yeah. So I think Samuel is the guy I was thinking of, and we know that that's not nearly enough to make up for losing Diggs and Gabe Davis. So, I'm going to be curious to see who lands in Buffalo's lap at number 20, whatever they're picking.
What's going to be interesting is that depending on how Josh Allen does, could determine his next contract too. Because think about it, if he comes out here and becomes like a 5-12 team because he can't move the ball down the field, then what does that do for him contract wise? When there was so much hype built up around him.
Well, didn't he just get a deal? 2 years ago? I want to say it was 2 years ago he got a deal.
Who?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, he did. He got signed right after Patrick Mahomes got his deal.
Okay,
there you go.
Then he lucked out then ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, I think Buffalo lucked out ahead of time because he ain't getting nearly what Burrow and Hurts and Herbert got. So Buffalo signed him at a discount. So, but yeah, I just think like what Greg said originally, that The Buffalo was in so much cap hell, and I'm telling you guys, it's going to happen. The Texans are going to be in the same spot 2 years from now, 3 years from now. They're going to be in salary cap hell, so that's why their window is going to be closed. And just like Buffalo, if you really paid attention, that's why Buffalo's window was so small, because of the signings they were making and the trades they were making. That window was small, man, and they just couldn't get it done. They couldn't get past Mahomes. They couldn't get past Burrow. So, it's kind of like, hey, you got to shoot your shot, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's all you can really do. And
Sure.
so now Buffalo's struggling to not only stay within the cap, having to restructure Von Miller's contract, having to trade away Diggs, having to let other guys go or restructure their contracts. Like, it was unfortunate if you're a Bills fan. Like, you lost out on your opportunity, your window to win, because you had Mahomes and Burrow standing in your way.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I am back. Sorry about that. I had an internet connection issue. I am back here, but
so to your question, Sonny, I think Buffalo stays where they're at, and they just wait to see who falls in their lap at wide receiver, and they draft the best receiver available. That's my prediction for them.
Do you think? What do you know? What number they are by any chance? Does anybody know where Buffalo is on the draft order? I know they're not top 10.
I want to say they're like 24 or something like that.
No, Cal was 24.
20, maybe 23. Somewhere around there, somewhere in the 20s, like the low 20s.
Gotcha. To be real interesting to see what's going on. Now, that also being said, you guys were talking about that. This guy's still available. I mean, and Brandon Ayuk, supposedly, but here we go with that unfollowing their team. I mean, we see that with one. Kyler Murray doing that with the Cardinals, and a couple of other guys that went ahead and kind of moved away from their social media, from their team. I would think that an Ayuk would be a pretty good ad for the Buffalo Bills in reality. To find a guy that could be that number one. I mean, as far as what they could do. I mean, would that be an answer you think up there, Greg? I mean, Brandon Ayuk, he's becoming super bad. He's becoming a name where people are recognizing who he is. A good fit up in Buffalo, I would think.
He would be, but the problem is San Francisco's not going to let him go. Not their GM over there has already said he ain't going anywhere. So unless you're going to give up the farm for him, that's the only way you're going to do it. And I don't know if Buffalo wants to do that.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, Buffalo's 28 in the
28. So yeah, they're way. So Marvin ain't gonna slide down that far, I don't think, in reality. But
Marvin
I mean,
goes
another
off in
guy,
top 5.
Wow. So you think top 5? Well, there's only one.
Arizona.
Wait, hold on.
Arizona's the one that's going to get them. The
Got
first 3
it.
are quarterbacks. Number 4, if it's still Arizona, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. They need a weapon for Kyler Murray because they lost Hopkins.
Yeah, wow.
And they lost Hollywood Brown.
And they want that. Yep. They want a dual threat there.
Interesting. So yeah, I don't know but there is a guy I talked to you when you first came on, Cuervo, about your ladies guy, wide receiver. This is a guy I think has been so freaking, blocked of being really good. I mean, he has not had a freaking quarterback in 3 years. I mean, God, and they cannot deliver the ball to this guy. I don't know. I don't think it's him, Cuervo. I don't know. I've always loved this guy. He came out of SMU here in the area. Loved the guy, what he did, and they have dropped the ball on getting this guy involved with the offense, Cuervo. Cortland Sutherland, I think, a great player for that football team. They say he's not going anywhere. I think if someone puts out a pretty good feeler to get him, they could get him, because they haven't seen much from him, as results. Of course, that's not him being his fault and everything. I think he could go somewhere.
Well, look, I mean, everybody's got a price. You know, if somebody comes to you and says, we'll give you we'll give you our first rounder and a third next year. Something. Okay, hey, thanks for everything, Cortland. You're out of here. Like,
what do you think he's worth, Cuervo? What do you think he could get? As far as a draft pick is concerned, what do you think he could get?
A third rounder.
Oh God, I'd have to think of. Well, okay, so Diggs went for what? A second rounder next year, right?
Yeah, next year.
Second rounder. So yeah, I would say either third or, God, if you're desperate enough, you take a fourth for him. But I think third is probably what you would get for a Cortland Sutton, because you've seen the potential. I've seen it in person with my own eyes how good this guy is. So.
Tall dude too. This guy is friggin' tall. Gotta love it. Not utilizing his size. Wow.
And he's a fan favorite too. And I know that doesn't really mean anything when it comes to business. But I think it does in the sense of, does the organization want to piss off the fan base and give that up? You know what I mean? Point. So there is something there, but
that sounds like Chicago.
Yeah, it's like no.
I'm out. Tony, you don't think losing 70-0 or whatever they wants to put up wasn't to piss off the fan base?
The Bears are who we thought they were.
I'm about to let you off the hook, Sonny. But that 70-point game was crazy. That was a defensive thing, right? I mean, you can't give up 70.
It don't matter. It still pissed off the fan base. I mean, your team became the team that gave up 70 points in one game.
You know what? My wife wasn't even pissed off. She was just straight up embarrassed. It was just embarrassing.
There's a difference. Pissed off and embarrassed are two different things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. I was that way during the playoff game against the Packers, like going, really?
Really?
What more else could happen? Really?
So Trey, if you were embarrassed, I was pissed off for you as a Bears fan.
There you go.
I know you were, because
I did not want to see Jordan Love win.
Nothing is more, I'm not sure what the word is, epic than your week 1 prediction of the Bears last year.
God,
on the putting your foot on the throat of a Packers fan. Oh my goodness!
Let me tell you.
It was a way better wrestling promo than I've ever cut in my entire life. I got pretty good wrestling. So, I mean, it was so genius to where I took a page out of your book and go, how can I incorporate that into being a manager? Okay.
Well, you know what, Trey? Maybe I need to top it come week 1 next year. Maybe
I can't wait.
Can you?
Listen, I'm waiting for next week after the Bears draft their quarterback of the future, which is going to piss Sonny off, and it's going to and has a 9th pick as well, and they'll pick up another. I mean, those are 2 really good positions to be in, really. Money wise down the road, we'll see. But right now they're doing so well. I can't wait to hear. I want to see you come on here next week, if you're on here next week, and just bury the entire league about how good the Bears are going to do, because I cannot wait to hear this. I'm going to write it down. I want to film it. I'm going to take. I want to hit your class on it, really, because
you're way ahead of me, Trey. But I guess we'll move it into give us a prediction, Cuervo, of what your Bears. You obviously got the number 1, then they got the number 9. What do you think is going to happen in reality? I know what I think is going to happen. I got I guess a bold pick. What's your bold prediction on what's going to happen in the draft here for the Chicago Bears?
All right, you know what? I'm not even going to talk number 1. We know what's happening at number 1.
All right, no number 1. I agree.
Let's go. Let's talk number 9.
No, let's talk 1 because it shouldn't happen.
Yeah. He wants Bo Nix to be drafted number 1.
No, I don't want Bo Nix. Bo Nix most likely is going to go to Denver, but we'll see what happens there. But
God, no,
not a bad pickup. Not a bad pickup for Denver.
That's right. Correct.
They need something over there, but
I already told you my shocker that should happen at number 1 and you guys could pull it off and make it huge. But it's all about what you guys are actually planning on doing. But you guys just change your logo instead of being, that black and what is it, black and brown or black and orange. Now it's going to be pink and black. So congratulations, dog.
First of all, it's navy blue and orange.
Whatever.
Yeah,
It's going to be navy blue and pink or whatever now. So
fighting words.
Gotta love these old. You gotta love these old Marines, and you just gotta love it. Here, I will tell you what I think, because I didn't even
say what I wanted to say. Sonny.
Well, I'm letting you think about it. No, I'm letting you think.
Sonny.
Where's the mute button? Where do I mute him?
He's just saying, okay? Let him just say.
Yeah.
You know what he says.
I've given him a chance to think. I already know mine before I did it, and I'm just going to throw him to the wall.
This isn't about him. It's about Cuervo.
Go ahead, Cuervo. Do you have enough time to think about it since we've been arguing back and forth with the Podfather? Go ahead. I was trying to give you time to think. Go ahead.
I've been trying to get it out. So number one, we know what's happening. Number 9, look, Bears had that pick last year. They traded it away. They gave it to that guy's team. Where's down there?
Oh, the Eagles. Yeah, there you go. Good job.
They're gonna do it again. They're gonna trade down from number 9 is my prediction. I don't know how far down they're gonna go, and I say that because as of right now, the Bears only have 4 picks in this draft. And I know Ryan Poles wants more picks than that. So they're going to trade down from 9, maybe to like 11, maybe 12, maybe 13. I really think they're going to go edge rusher. I really think a guy like Jared Verse from Florida State is going to be the guy that they're looking at. Because you need somebody opposite Montez Sweat to get pressure on the quarterback. And create that pass rush that the Bears need. They even with Sweat, after they got Sweat on the team, they were able to get more pressure on quarterbacks. However, it didn't always equal to sacks, and I think that's just as important. I think pressures are more important, but you do want to get to the quarterback. To create opportunities for turnovers. So that's what I'm saying is going to happen, guys. They're going to trade down from 9, try to get another 3rd or 4th or something like that from somebody and draft Jared Verse from Florida State.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. I was figuring out a way that they could try to trade up and still get Harrison too. I know it's not going to happen, because like Greg seems to think that's a definite over in Arizona to grab him up. And if he's thinking that, I mean, other people are thinking they're going to have to figure out how to get up to that spot. Is it a trade between then at that point, the New England Patriots swapping picks for a certain reason to grab it? Crazy things have happened on draft day. That's one of the. So I'm just wondering if that could get turned around, figured out. It's the only thing that can go that way, because a quarterback will probably be available at 9, I would think.
Yeah. Got your pancakes, Cuervo?
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
You should definitely shock the world again and pull a draft day out. Round 1, pick 1, Marvin Harrison Jr. You should just pull it out of the hat. Right there. Take Marvin it out. Harrison, everyone will be shocked because Caleb Williams is still there. And then out of nowhere, you pick number 9 and you take the others and pop right up and get your quarterback of your choosing after old Williams goes away. Or you might just get him again.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'll say this, though. I will say this. This is just me personally, guys. It's not an iPad. If Malik Neighbors is available at 9, you take him. You take Neighbors at 9.
Look at that bone right there. He had to show him.
Yeah.
How old is he, Greg? He's like 30, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
older. He's
he's
almost like
30
Chris
years old?
Winkie when he came
Hey,
out
he's
of
got
Florida State.
experience.
Yeah,
He's got
experience.
experience. Yeah.
He
So,
does. He's just like Chris Winkie when he came out for Florida State.
Yeah,
hey,
that worked
good
out well.
point. That's that. You know, the Panthers back in the day. I remember that. That's
Or hey, you guys want to see the Podfather cringe? Remember Brandon Whedon? And he became a cowboy in his career, and
yeah,
Sir,
better than Quincy Carter. I don't know.
listen,
Brandon Whedon.
listen. I've drinking a lot since then, so I don't. I try to forget. I'm still trying to get the Andy Dalton year out of my head. Okay, so
Good luck with that.
yeah, it's rough.
Yeah. So,
I guess we'll go back to having Vin Testaverde as our quarterback for a full year. How that worked, I have no idea. It didn't work, but I mean, how we made that work, it's stupid. It's Parcells.
Hey, you know why Greg doesn't have any hair anymore is because Kevin Kolb was the Eagle quarterback for a little while.
No, wasn't Kevin Cobb. Wasn't Kevin Cobb that did it. It was more of Jeff Garcia back all the way back then.
Oh God, yeah.
And then if you think about it, you had the former current head coach of the Jaguars, was a quarterback, was a backup quarterback, old Doug Peterson. Imagine all the other guys. I mean, can you name the quarterback that was throwing to Harold Carmichael? Oh,
Jaws.
Jaws.
Huh?
Jaws.
Okay. So if you can, that guy was throwing to the Jolly Green Giant back
Yeah.
then. Then who took over?
Oh God, I'm not an Eagles freaking
That'd be
historian.
Randall, sir.
Oh,
Randall.
okay.
Randall, yeah.
Randall Cunningham. That's where.
Hey,
remember
former Dallas Cowboy grade too, Randall Cunningham.
Yeah. That was after he made his
Don't worry about that.
mistakes.
Don't
That's
worry about
why
that.
he went there.
By the way, since you're here, Greg, I mean, do you think they overpaid in reality for Devontae Smith? 3 years, $75 million. Do you think they overpaid for him? But I get you have to sometimes to get that. But do you think they overpaid for him?
No, he's a genuine first round draft pick. Where they should have had him. He's a top 10 pick. He's done exactly the same thing pairing with AJ Brown. He has over 1,000 yards for the last 2 seasons, so over 100 catches each. He's doing exactly what AJ Brown's doing, and when they double on AJ, they're leaving him wide open. It's a perfect pairing because they're both getting the same money.
Too. Yeah.
What do you think about the Eagles starting the season out in Brazil? I think they're playing. Aren't they playing in Brazil week number one? They're not even playing.
I don't know if it's week one.
And Mario's really going to love this game because it's against the Packers, I believe.
Yeah. I heard they were playing Berlin week number one. Was it Berlin or no Brazil? Playing in Brazil. Week number one. It's week one, but I forgot. So it is the Packers. Is that who they are playing?
Yes,
Interesting.
Jordan Love. They want Jordan Love versus Jalen Hurts. That's why they did it.
And so is that's what they wanted? You think?
I guess that's what they wanted to have out there.
So that game was week one.
Yeah, it's week one.
Yeah,
that's
week
the opener.
one. I'm 95% sure it's week one.
I believe it's also the first Thursday night game or something like that too, or something of that nature. It's like the very first game of the season.
The globalization. Of
no. Game's on Friday. No. That game's on Friday, actually.
Okay. I know it's on
Thursday.
Huh?
Thursday. Or Thursday. It's their Friday.
Oh, something. No. It'll take place here on Friday. Come on. I have to kick. I want to kick his ass all over the place when I see him by anyway. But so I thought that was interesting. Week number one, they're out of the freaking out of the country and everything. So something to look forward to. As far as that is concerned. Now,
okay. Hey, I have a question for all of us. Do we all like the globalization of the NFL? Do we like the fact that they go overseas and
I hate it.
Away? I hate it like a passion. I mean, I hate it so much because it takes away from here.
Right.
What do you think?
Fully agree. And the main reason is that it takes away from the fans in the stands that pay for tickets. Now, granted, they got that extra game, but it's every other year, and they still get it. And I think that's how they kind of figure it out. If that's a year where they be on the road. That's when they're going to be in the different countries, so don't take away from it. But at the same time, wouldn't you like every other year get that extra game instead of
Well,
obviously?
I get that it takes away because, like, with 17 games, you can't have one too many home games,
Right.
and one too many away games. So going overseas takes that away in some aspect.
Right.
But,
I fully agree. I hate it.
But that's why I hate 17 game. This is the whole 17 game season thing. Cuervo, what do you think about that?
Playing games internationally. I think about it from the player standpoint, like all that traveling and the time differences and all that stuff. Like it's gotta be a pain in the ass. Like playing, the Chargers playing in Miami. That's different than the Eagles and Packers having to fly all the way down to freaking Brazil to play a game. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like planning, and there's a lot of stuff that there's more that goes into it than just the Chargers or the 49ers or somebody going to like Miami or New England, or it's such a having to do so much extra crap just to go play a game down there because you want to promote the NFL internationally. I think as a fan it's cool, but I don't like to always think about it as a fan. I'd like to think about it from the player's perspective too, and that's why I'm kind of like, because eventually players are gonna, they're gonna not want to do it either, and they probably don't already. They probably don't care about those games anyways.
Well, the one thing I understand is that how they'll take two NFC teams and put them overseas. Those games could possibly matter for that conference. Why not do an NFC and an AFC team like in a way Super Bowl type thing? Two non-conference teams from each other, facing each other, and it's a game that won't really matter unless it's down the line in the season where records matter.
I get what you're saying because the games the ones that have a bigger impact on playoff,
and they should have home and visitor, implications. You don't have that overseas. So
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, could you imagine if they decide to like put a divisional game in London? Oh God, people would go nuts.
Can you picture if okay, Greg, imagine the Cowboys and Eagles are going to play. Game matters, but it's not going to be played in Philly. It's not going to be played in Dallas. It's going to be played over in London. How much are you hating that?
I think
that's how much he hates. He just logged off and didn't even want to answer.
He said, "Screw that." Here he's back. There he's back. Ask him again, there, Podfather. I don't know if he heard you.
Okay. Imagine if you have the Cowboys and the Eagles. They're going to play each other this game too, but instead of being played in Dallas or in Philly, you got to play the game in London. How much does that piss you off as a fan?
That really pissed me off, actually. Because depending right now, I'm only maybe 12 hours away from Philadelphia. I'd like to go there and watch the Eagles put a whooping on the Cowboys.
Fair enough.
But it's the same thing. It's a love-hate relationship between the Dallas and Philadelphia because.
But I'm saying that's where the home and visitor thing matters.
Yeah.
Because for Dallas to go in there and kick their ass in Philly, which it's happened, not all the time, but it's happened, and where the Eagles come into Dallas and do the same thing. I mean, it's a thing. You take that game and you put it over in London, it don't mean nothing.
No, it takes the rivalry aspect, the passion of those two rivalries away, and puts neutral parties in the way, so it's not as impactful.
Agreed. Yeah, see, Cowboys Eagles fans can't. We can get along. Maybe.
No. I put it as a thing is everyone who wants to lose their career and go to die, they go to Dallas.
But
This is why I bring him on.
but they don't pay taxes.
Why I bring him on.
They don't pay state taxes, so there's that. So
I know you guys were mentioning about like possible trades to wide receivers. I'll give you two names right now that could be on the move, and they're shocking ones, believe it or not. And the two that are going to be is Justin Jefferson has been talked, and so has DK Metcalf.
I'm not too worried about a DK Metcalf per se. How about Justin? Why? Why would I give a rat's fat ass about DK Metcalf, for God's sake? What has he done lately?
Put that man on the Kansas City and watch what happens.
Put him on what?
Put him on Kansas City and watch what happens.
Oh, well, hold on. Now, I might agree with you as far as that is concerned, but outside of that, DK Metcalf he hasn't shown me shit in years. I mean, literally. I mean, he's an okay player, but I don't think he's anything to write home to mama about in reality. I mean,
look what he's done with the guy that's named Geno Smith thrown to him. When he had Russell Wilson, everyone feared him.
I think I agree with you, but you got to find the right chemistry. DK Metcalf has got the potential, but the problem is they're going to have to figure that out now.
Sonny,
go ahead.
Last year, 66 receptions, 1,114 yards receiving, 16.9 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns.
Great.
The year before,
wonderful. What did it mean in a bunch of wrap-up time? You know, I'm not impressed with DK Metcalf. I'm just not. But throw that up on it. I don't think that's his fault per se. So that's why I agree with what Greg is saying. You put him with you know, in Kansas City. That guy will go out. And I think he could be a guy that could bring a team something better, but I don't think you spend a lot of money to get him first. I think you have to maybe lowball it to get him out of there. I don't think you pay millions and millions of dollars to this guy until he can prove that he can do it week in to week out with another quarterback.
As far as him being ranked in the NFL, he's ranked number 41. He's ranked 23 in wide receivers. So that says a little bit about him.
Well, you know, it's interesting that Greg brings up Kansas City because, and maybe I'm looking way too far ahead with this, but depending on how this Rashee Rice situation plays out, they might be in the market for another receiver. Even though they signed Hollywood Brown, they might be in the market for another guy.
I'm just not impressed with Hollywood Brown either. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just an asshole. He's not great.
He's okay.
It's just like he's okay. The only thing that you've got to get your teams into the playoffs, okay? And so you need to find the guys that are going to get you there.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Some playoffs.
Playoffs.
Find the guy. Find the guy that's going to get you. I don't know.
Mario, here's a pop quiz for old Cuervo. Who's backup quarterback for Kansas City?
Oh, I forgot his name.
Don't say it.
Now, isn't it Blaine Gabbert?
Nope.
No.
Not anymore. Okay.
Oh shoot! I forgot his name. I just recently tripped over this, and I don't even know why. Well, because I was looking around.
It's Taylor Swift, right?
No, it's not Taylor Swift. Kelsey wouldn't allow it because then he would have to be underneath center.
Thank you. He'll be here all week. Make sure you tip your waitresses, please.
You'll be getting Jason's advice how to play center. Oh man, you got me. No, they signed somebody, damn it, and I can't think of who it is now.
No, it's the guy who played last year.
He did play last year. You and I have had major conversations about this guy. The man's name is Carson Wentz.
Oh, Wentz. Yeah. That's right.
Wentz.
So
What a great backup to have, though.
Hold on a second.
Wow, I like that.
I'll say so. Carson Wentz he has 2 Super Bowl rings now.
He does.
Wow, I didn't think about that.
Hey, that right there, one of the better backup quarterbacks in the NFL, right there. Hey,
He has 1 ring. I think he's only got 1 ring.
No, he does. He does only have 1. He was on the Rams, and then the prior that was with the Commanders. So he never actually was there.
Well, but hold on a second. I thought he got 1 with the Eagles when the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
He did.
When Nick
Then he got 1. Did he get 1 last year with the Chiefs, or was he a free agent last year?
He just signed with them like a month ago.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah.
No, he didn't get it last year. He got it this year is when he's on Kansas City. So if they win another one,
he was with the Rams last year.
He was. He won a game for them because of that backup quarterback war that they had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
So interestingly enough, hey, now I want to go ahead and throw a curveball here and get off the NFL here for a moment because there are other news out there. And Cuervo, you didn't get an opportunity to talk a little bit about the. Now, Greg, we might lose you because I know the subject we're going to go in. You're already talking about Pink. With Caleb Williams. We're going to go to the WNBA here for just a moment. I don't know how much interested that you're in. Caitlin Clark. Yeah, I know. He might be gone. But that being said, Caitlin Clark is bringing eyes to the product. Now, rightfully or wrongfully, it doesn't matter, right? As long as the eyes are there. What is your take upon what you think that you'll see with Caitlin Clark leading the WNBA into what they're going to do this upcoming season, because we're hearing about season tickets being sold out in certain arenas for certain teams and things of that sort. And I'm going to ask, is this a wash in the pan, or can we expect to see this year in year out from the WNBA moving forward?
No, I don't think you can say that it's going to happen year in and year out. I think people are just curious now to see how her game translates to the pro level, and if she continues to do well, then they're gonna keep going to watch her. If not, then that people are just gonna start to fade away and not watch.
And interestingly enough that you say that, because it was around what I'm thinking the fly in the pan. Everybody's, everybody online, oh, they should be making more money. They should put more money in. They should put more money in. And I think what is going to end up happening, if someone puts too much money into it and it is not successful, someone's going to lose their job. Everybody is thinking about the bottom line. And the bottom line is they don't put asses in seats in the WNBA. Now, will they in the next couple of years because of Caitlin Clark? Wonderful. I think it's great. Longevity on how much they're going to pay to actually televise these games, and is it worth it? And the response, everybody saying, oh yeah, we'll watch. But man, I've heard this story before, not more than 10 years ago, regarding the WNBA and what should happen for them in order to be seen. Question, I saw what happened last time. I see the same thing happening now, just as a different person. I think it was Swoops, I think, is what when she came out and she started doing what was going to happen. I just wonder, and it's not because I'm bashing women's sports. If they put asses in seats, I think they should be there. But I was telling this earlier, 38% of the NBA fans are women. You need to take that 38%, get them over to the WNBA somehow so they can put some asses in some seats.
Well, I mean, you'll get that 38% of the females, but the hard part is getting men to get into it, and I just don't know how many men are going to be interested in WNBA stuff.
I think I'm with you, but hey, I put this up again to throw it at the Podfathers. They've sold more jerseys, more merch for Caitlin Clark than the Dallas Cowboys. I found that quite funny. So
it's a broader audience with a lot of broads. So there you go. I mean, look, as I said, getting her to be in the WNBA is a start. You have to build off that. You have to build off that to attract other people, and in order to do that, you in a league that had Michael Jordan, you originally had Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, people who would help pave the way for the NBA before Jordan got there. WNBA hadn't really had that. WNBA is starting with her, really. So you start with her, you build upon that, and hopefully you can grow from there. If it can't, it's nobody's fault. It's just how it is, And again, they're getting paid what they're getting paid because that's all they can afford. That's part of the collective bargaining agreement that the players
exactly
years ahead of time. It's not the owners.
2 more years underneath this collective bargaining agreement. So they better figure something out in the next 2 years so they can improve upon that if they are expecting to get more money.
Well, I got news for you. WNBA player strike's not going to do anything for anybody. So,
that's true too. No one cares. No one would care.
It's like, oh yeah, what's that girl's name that signed who's the first pick and signed a $10 million deal with Nike? Oh yeah, her. What's she doing now?
Her.
She's on strike. Oh well, it's on her then. It's going to depend on other stars, and and the women's basketball in college and wherever else around the world. And I'm pretty sure that like what the NBA has done, gone overseas and looked for talent elsewhere besides colleges. They'll do the same thing with the women and see what happens. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then
they make more money in overseas. They make a lot more money in overseas compared to the WNBA. But that also being said, it brings me to what we were kind of talking about in the chat box as far as the hosts were concerned. And it's more, the more this guy talks, the more he just pisses me off. I am so sick of this guy, and that being LeBron James. And just these talks, how he starts talking, it just makes me want the worst for this guy. I'm sorry. The ego factor that this guy's got about himself and his son. And by the way, that's not the only thing that was said. You pop into this one. If he's not drafted, I'm going to make a few calls. Since when does this guy? Why? I don't know, Cuervo. Maybe I'm just too old to understand all this bullshit. I'm sick of LeBron James and how he's the second coming of Christ when he's not even better than Kobe Bryant.
Don't tell him that.
Well, hey, by the way, you want to know why Kobe Bryant is so great? Watch this. This is why Kobe Bryant was so great.
Practices are meant to be competitive. If your practices aren't more competitive than the games themselves, you're doing the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. And most of these teams and coaches have gotten into a mindset of resting players. Oh, it's too much. We're not going to practice light day. Phil never gave us a light day. Mm-hmm. There's no days off. You show up and you work. You practice. Yeah. And practices are going to be worse. They're going to be more physical. There's going to be more trash talking. And I'm going to let you know. Yeah. If you didn't show up today, I'm going to let you know. Yeah. And it's going to be embarrassing, and you're going to hate it. But when Game 7 rolls around in NBA Finals, you will be prepared.
That's all mindset.
It's a total mindset. That's a total 180 than what we get from LeBron James. As this guy takes how many days off because now granted I get he's getting older. Granted I know his tread is getting a little bit thinner on the tire. I get it and all. And it's not just LeBron James, it's the NBA as a whole. The difference between the game from just when Kobe played compared to what it is now, and then all of a sudden supposed influence that LeBron James is going to bring on a team to draft his son. It's pretty pathetic. I'm sick of seeing this kind of stuff because it's not just LeBron James. It's also Deion Sanders. I'd love to bitch slap him around a little bit too.
But if you about your boy, Greg's going to stay on that comment.
But if you notice one thing though, about as we grow older and the sports world gets further ahead, they're all about taking more time off. They're all about not putting in the collective effort that it took back then for those guys to win.
Yes.
And because they want a kinder, gentler league. Every sports league wants that. Maybe not hockey, because I think hockey comes with the same mentality.
They still let them go toe-to-toe. I like that.
Yeah. So, but basketball, baseball to an extent, even the NFL. I mean, look at the training camps. You can only hit so many people on during training camp X amount of times during that time. You can only have so many padded practices. You can only, I mean, now we're changing the rules of how you can't pull the guy down. You can't do this. You can't do that. Again, if it's all about making sure these people aren't invalids when they're in their 50s, I guess I'm kind of for that. But at the same time, yeah, it does take away the chip on the shoulder, the mentality, the whole, we want it worse than these people want it type thing. And fans see that, and unfortunately, the players don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is total BS.
It just takes away from, and I'm tired of hearing about how the players need to give it to the owners and the owner. Yeah, I get it. The owners are rich. Okay, I get it. And yeah, the players should have some say. But at some point, man, you just got to let them just know, listen, this is our league and we're going to run it our way. And what you end up doing, which, by the way, what LeBron James is actually doing is actually borderline illegal based upon the rules in the NBA, which is the tampering and things of that sort. I think they need to get a hold of that guy and say, look, I get who you are. I get what you're doing here. But at the same time, we got rules and you're going to follow them or you won't play or you'll get fined. And anything that goes against LeBron James, we got everybody up in arms against him, even if he is breaking the rules.
But this is also the same league that told Michael Jordan, listen, when you have a gambling problem, you may have gambled against the NBA games you were playing, and for all we know, just go away.
Yes.
Come back in a year or two, and then we'll go from there.
Yes.
And he did that, and they came back. They won 3 more rings, and that was it. So, I mean,
it's amazing. He just did what he was told. That's what and that's my point. Get away. Go away. Listen, this is how we're going to do this, not your input. We don't care about your input. I'm sick of these players having so much input. I completely get it, but they're not the ones that are handing the money into their pocket. It's the people who are giving them that money to the pocket, and they should have more of a say. Yeah, I just said it. They should have more of a say about what happens within their business because it's their business and their money coming out of their pocket.
Well, it's called it's called player empowerment. That's all it is. I mean, the NBA is notorious for that, especially nowadays. And the NFL.
I'd love to see him get away from it.
The NFL is getting that way. That's the thing, because the NFL players
fully agree.
They take a more of a beating than the basketball players do.
Yes,
I agree. And that's why they want to feel more empowered, because they see the Tony Dorsetts of the world and see that could be me. I don't want that to be me. We got to make changes. So, I get it. But then again, does it take away from the fabric of the football game? And does it take away from what we think of the essence of what the league should be? Sure. But
it's an old school mentality.
But then again, let's say we had kids that are playing pro ball right now, okay? We want them to be safe, right? We want them to be safe and know, look, you might get injured, but we hope the guy doesn't, kill you in the process. I mean, we'd all like that. We all like to think that, but we don't know. I mean, we had a player actually almost die on the football field a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And that scared the hell out of the league, because you had the questions that already came out. You had all these other things that are being said about the NFL and about the bashing of heads and about the injuries that are piling up and everything else. The NFL sitting there going, we got to take care of our players. So when the NFL is saying that, and we all sit there and go, well, they're just getting soft, but they're doing it for the betterment of the fans who are watching their favorite teams and not want to see, oh my God, Tom Brady's the starting quarterback of the Patriots. How great! What, he's down week 1? Well, shit, there goes our season. They don't want to see that.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, same thing. And his was just, he took a bad step. So, Bryce, my guy.
To a certain extent, Bryce, yes. Do they get? I'm sorry that I think if you give them too much power. You take away from owning a team and running it your way. It's not basically shut up and do what they're told. It's just maybe not. It's having so much influence where all of a sudden owners can't lay down rules and regulations on their team for their players. I think it's ridiculous.
Remember, the owners couldn't say shit about the players taking a knee. They really, I mean, some took a stand and some paid for it.
Some did.
Yeah. So
I do hate that part of it. That part I do, but
I mean, once again, are you an owner or are you a dictator?
Yeah. Yes, but depend. Getting back to that whole
every year.
I'm out here,
go
gentlemen.
ahead,
I gotta go. So I just wanted to say thanks for letting me come back on real quick. This is an outstanding conversation about basketball. When you come back to football, real sport, come back to me. Instead of listening to candy asses like LeBron James. So if you smell what G Webb is cooking,
I'm out there with you, Greg. I'm out there with
champion, Cuervo. That's right. Show me my belt. You didn't give me my photo yet. See you guys later.
Oh yeah, I'll give you a call.
Good to see you.
Right?
I'm still waiting for my plaque, so don't worry about it.
By the way, and just for Bryce's sake, yes, to a certain extent, I do want them to shut up a little bit. Not and I guess it's the old school in me that sees the situation, and I think there are certain guys that are doing it that think it is all about them, and that's where the problem lies. If they were all about everybody else, it'd be a different story. Never, so that's more of what I look at. A guy like a LeBron James just totally going around the rules and everything else to get what he wants. Basically what he wants for his son instead of letting it play out. It's sad, at least to me anyway.
It's ego. It's ego. But it's Sonny's running the fact.
Oh no, I hate LeBron James. There's no question. Now I do love what he's doing off the field with the schooling and everything. I will never, ever, ever put him down for what he's doing with the school, regardless who's graduating or not. What he's doing to pay for kids to go to college and think, hey, all day long. But when it comes to certain thing, yeah, LeBron James, he's the biggest flopper in the NBA. I'm sorry, he is. This guy, they've shown so many videos of this guy not getting hit and he's flopping and they don't do anything. Remember the big deal, Cuervo? They're going to start, calling fouls for flopping. And LeBron James hadn't got one yet, and yet there's about 10 videos showing where he wasn't touched and he's flopping all over the basketball court like he got really hurt. It's sad. That's why it was like 5 years ago, Cuervo. 5 years ago, we were on this show saying the NBA is unwatchable, and he's part of the reason.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to say is, that those quotes that you find, I don't know if I believe that he actually said those things.
Those were said. That's why I put those up.
But according to who though, or from where? Where did these quotes come from? Because I could go and create something that LeBron supposedly said too, and post it everywhere. But like, oh my God, LeBron said, that he wants to be a Chicago Bull next year. Like anybody can create anything. I think that the one about I'm going to make some phone calls, I don't buy it. That's just me personally. I don't buy it. I don't think he actually said it. Does he have the ego to say something like that? Yes. I think he, and maybe that's why we believe that he said that it's real, because he's got that type of ego. Do I think he actually did say that? No. Now the other one about what was it that the quote said about he's only going to go somewhere where he starts or something like that?
Yeah,
I can see that. I can see him saying something like that. Yeah, I don't.
This one right here.
Real. That one I think is real. This one right here, I think it could be real. Where he's starting and the team leader, maybe that one's real. But the one about making phone calls, I don't buy it. That's just me personally.
Got it. Yeah, got it. I completely understand. Now, grab these up and, coming through there, as far as some of the things that are said, I catch them and I find them. And I usually, and these I looked in, I heard they were said and they were coming from reputable sources as well. So I just to put that out there, but it's still within the realm of me hating the fact that, I don't want I don't want you to think that I don't think they should have any say. I just say sooner or later you're going to have to limit that. I mean, there's a difference between boss and player, and that's where some of the things that come to pass and things of that sort.
Players gotta remember nowadays you don't actually see a paycheck anymore, but just remember who signs them. Just remember who authorizes those deposits when you get that deposit every other week or whatever it is, how they get paid in the NBA. Just remember where that comes from. That's
exactly. And if I had my RESPECT, I'd put it up there and go for it. That fits my narrative. Yeah. Well, that's true. I'll put it to that point, but I don't think that's a conspiracy. Those were said. Both of them were said, just so that's what I found. But
I'm sure he said those words. Maybe not together in those particular sentence, that one sentence structure. I'm sure he said those words eventually
together, from one to another to another. Yeah.
Blasphemy! The blasphemy!
So, but we can always do a little conspiracy. I got you, Bryce. Of course, I'd love to have him on air. So hopefully. By the way, Bryce, what are you doing? Let us know. I mean, he's listening. Obviously, he's the up on top of that. So, but yes, there is LeBron James hate. I think there's too much. However, here's an interesting one here, guys. Porter. I don't know if you've seen this. I mean, I've been kind of listening to more because obviously there's not a lot of sports going on. So I'm kind of keeping track a little bit with what's going on. But this is Porter getting a lifetime ban, for gambling. As far as what was it? The owners are the ones who allow and encourage authorized loan management.
About like resting guys, like resting load management, minute management.
Yeah, I don't know if that I think a lot of it also comes from the player too, especially a LeBron James. At that point,
I have a question.
But hold on 1 second, Podfather. 1 second. Didn't they just make a rule that on those big games that those big time players like LeBron James and everybody had to play or something like that? Maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know.
Yeah, you got me on that one. I don't
have to check. I'll check up on that. But go ahead there, Podfather.
When did the NBA make it possible that players can wear sleeves?
I just noticed it probably within the last, 5, maybe 10 years.
I mean,
but then again, I don't watch a lot of basketball. I don't.
I mean, I remember like it was a big thing for college players to wear it.
Yeah.
But now they're doing it in the pros, and that looks awful.
Well, the only thing I know is whatever they wear has got to be approved through the company that provides the universe. Yeah, so anything that is worn outside of what the thing is it's got to be approved apparel.
The NFL is the same way. As long as you're wearing Nike approved apparel or whatever the deal is, and then you can. I mean, this is why the deal with the Cowboys and I think it was at Reebok back in the 90s was
back in the 90s, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all depending upon who's getting paid what and why and things. So but I have noticed that, and I don't know why that's such a big deal. I don't know what benefit comes from it. I'm not saying there isn't. I just don't know of the benefit of that. But back to that story regarding Porter trying to protect the outcomes of the games. Jonte Porter's lifetime ban is a very serious. It's a very serious ban. It's basically saying you're done for the rest of your career, can't make any more money, and But I'm just really interested if that was like let's be honest. This guy's not the top 10 player in the NBA. What would have the punishment been for a top 10 player in the NBA? It would be really interesting to see what that would be, like a LeBron James or whoever. And by the way, yeah, Stephen Curry. By the way, speaking of Golden State's close from what I'm hearing, and I haven't checked the standings, but they're not playing very well. Might not be making the playoffs or in danger.
I mean, the playoffs are
That's
playoffs are
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder what kind of effect that's going to have upon that product moving forward.
Yeah, so they lost the play-in game, Sonny. That's why they got eliminated. But there's a lot of speculation that they're going to start breaking that team up. That's the effect of this. Yeah,
they can't afford to keep the band together.
I wonder how, that's interesting how they, yes, they missed the playoffs, but how they can't afford to keep the band together, as you say. And I don't know if that's the excuse or what, but gosh.
Your team kind of hit a peak, and now you're on the downside of that, and they're not winning any championships anytime soon. So might as well break up the team now as opposed to paying millions of dollars to players who are only half-assing right now.
Interesting. Where that lies, how it moves forward, everything. I'm gonna probably check into that because that's a big deal. I mean, Stephen Curry, is he the Stephen Curry of years past? Is it done? Like you said, can a double dynasty be built like the Bulls back in the day, right, Cuervo? A double dynasty. Can they pull that off? It'll be interesting to see where they move forward, and if they move forward, who are they not going to be with?
The thing about that, though, is that the Bulls still had two key major cogs to both dynasties. That was Pippen and Jordan.
Well, so to a certain extent, yeah,
you still have those two guys as. Everybody else was interchangeable. Even Rodman came in on the back end of that. So,
how many years was Jordan out there, Cuervo? Was he out for 2 years?
He was out for a year and a half, for like a year
and a half,
just under 2 years. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He joined in the middle of the season, didn't he? When he came back.
Yeah, towards the end of the season.
Yeah, gotcha.
I think there was like 20 games left. In the regular
20 games left. They said that they were out of the playoffs, and he says, I won't be a part of this entire year, but I'll help practice and I'll help be like, a reason people might want to tune in case I do get on the floor. But that was pretty much it.
Oh,
but I think he was hell bent coming back the next year.
Yeah.
Here we go. I missed this slide. This was an interesting one that these are how often each NFL team has made the playoffs. So think of this, the playoffs started in 1933, and the biggest number is the Podfathers Dallas Cowboys at 55%, followed by the Baltimore Ravens, which is kind of not really fair in reality to the Dallas Cowboys because they hadn't been in existence as long as the Dallas Cowboys.
But yeah, I remember though. You remember though. The Cowboys won 20 straight playoff appearances. Until it ended 84. So it was already kind of already built in from there. And then since then it's been almost every other year.
Right. Exactly.
There's been the occasional 3-year stretch of 5-11, but that happened in the Campo years.
Yeah.
But even Parcells, he was go one, lose one, go one, then that was it. So.
And one that there's your Bears at 29% there, Cuervo, which which kind of stinks. But the one that I find very interesting, we talk about it all the time in reality. Oh, what Cuervo? Hey, DC Dennis Clark, good to see you. But that being said, I find it interesting. Look at the Chargers at 31%, Cuervo, and you remember, how bad the whole thing with Philip Rivers and everything, as far as that is concerned. I find that very interesting how that has ended up being where it's at.
Yeah. I mean, well, before Drew Brees, I'm trying to think of who their quarterback was, because that's when it really started to pick up for the Chargers again. Is when they drafted Brees, they got into the playoffs, then brought in Rivers, they got rid of Brees, and they were in the playoffs pretty much, I'd say, every year for about 15 straight years. And then
they went on this kick where they make the playoffs, then miss it, make the playoffs, and miss it. And that was about 10 years ago. So
that's what it's been with Herbert so far.
Yeah. So
you got Stan Humphries, Ryan Leaf, Jim Harbaugh, Jim McMahon was there for a second. Can't think of any. Mark Vlasic. Golly, that's the name from the past.
Yeah.
Doug Flutie was there for a second. You had
that's right. I think it was Flutie, and then
Babe Laufenberg was there for a minute.
Yeah, babe. Yeah, I remember. They kind of talk about when they were doing
Billy Joe Tolliver. Remember that name?
Billy Joe. I know Billy Joe Tolliver, and I know his son Austin Tolliver. Played in indoor football, so I know them very well. Good people.
Eric Kramer, Jim Everett, Mark Malone.
Malone. Wow, interesting.
All
right, now that being said, we got 10 more minutes left to go on the show, Cuervo. I don't know if there's anything that we've covered a lot of things throughout what's going on. But that being said, is there anything that you wanted to cover that we haven't covered, or what was going on?
I think we hit everything. Because it's draft week, so I think the biggest thing. Do you guys have a prediction for a trade? Not necessarily a pick, but do you see a team trading up or down? Give me a good prediction, guys. Any team, it don't matter.
I think if the Cowboys trade out the first pick, which I think they really should, they need to find something that's going to pick them up a nice 2 or 3, like for the second and third rounds. I'm not sure if anybody wants to do that. I know the Eagles like to trade with them quite a bit. So
you're saying Dallas would trade out of the first round?
Yeah. I don't think.
What number are they? 24. 20 what? 24.
Yeah, I mean, they got to go offensive lineman for sure.
There's no question. That's why I don't think they go. They're going to lose Joe Wall. He's not going to be there unless they move up to get him.
Top 10.
But I'm saying if he's not going to be there, you trade out of there and you build up more picks because you got very few picks.
There's another kid, I forget his name, is out of Pitt that I think is super bad, and they need to go grab him up too. I just can't remember his name. 6'9", tall dude. Tall dude.
No, but what I'm saying though is that Dallas has very few picks in the draft this year. So in order to build more draft equity, you trade out of the first, and then hopefully you can pick up 2 extra picks from that. From a team that don't need them. That's going to be the question: who doesn't need them? Then you got to go all offensive line, though. I think at least the first.
You remember the year they jumped up to get Frederick, and everybody thought they lost their mind, and Frederick was a badass. That's what they need to do. They need to jump up and get Joe Alt.
If you remember correctly, they had to tackle Jerry Jones from not going after Johnny Football. Because that's
right.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was who he wanted. And Steven and Jerry Jr. were sitting there going, No, Daddy, we don't need to do that. All right, we don't need to do that. But he was so helpful. I need Johnny Football. I need Johnny Football. And he tackled his ass and it was Frederick. Here, turn that in.
And that turned out to be a good one. Too bad he got ill and got sick. And I always thought that was.
I'm wrong. That was Zach Martin. They got Zach Martin.
Zach Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, the Dallas Cowboys should always draft their first round draft pick as
whatever the hell they did last year. Whoever made the decision to go after Nazi, whatever his name is. that guy needs to be fired. And if it's the guy that drafted everybody else, then maybe he gets a pass because he just
they'll
had a
just
bad
blame
day.
it on the scouts.
Right. But, I mean, you go get a first-round draft choice. That guy's got to be productive game one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even if you're a quarterback. If you're going to go first-round for a quarterback, and if he's your quarterback of the future, you better make an impact the first game. Or the second game or the third game because, the quarterback ratio. But if you're a lineman and if you can definitely stand out, like even Tyler Smith, people thought he was going to be a penalty machine. And he has been to some extent, but not as bad as he was going to be. He's been pretty solid.
Yes.
And you lost Tyron Smith in the offseason. You got
he went to the Jets, didn't he?
So he went somewhere. You've aged out a lot of offensive linemen already. You need to just regroup and rebuild, and you start year one. First 3 picks, go get offensive linemen. Go get your specialty players later in the draft that you can use as special teams guys. That's your best bet. Now, will they do that? Is that too below Jerry's ego? Oh, hell yeah. Because he wants the sexy pick. But ain't gonna happen. I mean, there's no sexy pick.
Arkansas.
Telling me there's a chance.
But I'll be willing to bet you the first 3 picks that they do make, one of them will be from Arkansas. There's no doubt.
That's the way they do things. So,
got a quick question actually. How excited Jerry is about John Calipari going to the basketball team over there in Arkansas?
I don't know, but I think he's more excited the fact that there's talk that Bill Belichick might want to come to the Cowboys. So
I have not heard that, but I haven't been listening for that. I'll be honest. So it's the worst decision in the world.
Their personalities, they're going to do this a lot.
But let me ask you a question. Did him and Bill do that?
Okay, do I?
Did him and Bill Parcells do that?
Well,
Probably
maybe not to an extent because Bill Parcells knew who he was. So I think you've seen a little backing down from Parcells depending on what it is. Like, what do they say in a marriage? You pick and choose your battles. I think that's what ended up happening as far as that's concerned.
I'm pretty sure Belichick is pretty much in the same system as Parcells was. And like, look, I have my past, which was great. But I have no future. So in order to have a future here, I got to play ball. It's Jerry's team. He's their own manager. I get to win some ideas. Doesn't mean he's going to take them all.
That won't happen because that's what the problem was with the Atlanta Falcons. He wanted too much of that control, and he wasn't willing to give it up. And then Robert Kraft made a telephone call, said, listen, here's the situation. He's going to say what he wants, but he's going to be a pain in your ass. And that's what ended up happening based upon some of the things that I've been reading on.
You're right. That's the Atlanta Falcons. This is the Dallas Cowboys.
But they got both owners that got big egos.
Well, it don't matter. Which one has more equity for Belichick? The Falcons with more opportunities, maybe, which they didn't give them.
Yeah.
Or the Cowboys, who have the bigger name.
It'll never happen. Okay. Those two, the Eagles are too big. Both of those Eagles are too big for it to work together.
And Parcells and Jerry Jones were two big egos as well. I'm not saying it's going to happen either. I'm not going to say it's going to happen either. Okay, because I think it's a far cry. I think it's a big ass drummer. Someone just brought up to talk noise. But let's just say it's actually a thing. Okay? Let's just say it is. I'm not saying Belichick's going to turn the Cowboys around because he needs help. He needs a lot of help. And this team, they might get to the playoffs. They ain't going to win the playoff game, but they might get at least almost a 500 team if they're lucky.
I don't think so, Tim.
Okay, well, remember, they're a good regular season team. They just suck in the playoffs. So, and I say that as the Pick'em champion from last year, which I have no plaque for. So, anyway.
You're not going to amount to jack squat.
I'm never going to get that plaque.
I had to get that one in before the show was over.
I mean,
not that time for me, Sonny.
Yes, definitely. So, all right, Cuervo, Thanks for joining us this morning. Where are you off to? I know you're going somewhere. Where are you off to?
I'm gonna go visit the stepdaughter, and visit the grandbaby. Go check on them, see how they're doing, and spend some time over
Your
there.
wife is a big grandbaby woman. She wants to see your grandbabies.
She's she's taking the grandma role real serious.
Yeah, she is. She's a hardball, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yeah.
She'd rather have your grandkids than you sometimes. So there you go. What you kind of
Well, check on her daughter too, because number 2 is on the way.
Is that right? Holy
Yeah.
smokes. No wonder she's beaming all over the place. So by the way, she made a comment about something the other day and I agreed with her 100%. Do you remember what that was?
Was it about the elephants?
Yes, that's exactly what it was. Thank you. So I hate I hate big game hunters. I hate all of them. I can't stand it. Makes me mad.
Yeah, especially elephants are one of her favorite wildlife animals. It is her favorite wildlife animal. So anything that has to do with hurting elephant, oh no, she's not a fan.
I get it. Matter of fact, so much so I don't own any ivory whatsoever. Will not own any ivory whatsoever. I get exactly what she's talking about. The only thing I got ivory in my home is the soap. So there you go.
That's debatable.
It smells good though. Anyway, well, that's going to do it for us on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Make it 3 hours. Always good to see Cuervo, the MVP, and of course the Podfather. By the way, when's your next deal, Podfather?
Which deal are you referring to? I have a lot of deals.
Wrestling. When's the next wrestling?
May 4th, Carrollton, Texas, CrossFit Templum. May Mayhem takes place. Not sure what I'll be doing exactly. I think I'll be doing music again.
Hitting people with chairs. That's what you'll be doing.
I've never hit a guy with chairs. I'm always too busy. Although the last show I did have a roll of quarters. The original plan was we were going to take on a former member of my group, and my guy was going to hit him in the head with the quarters. Well, that guy didn't show up, so we got thrown to another match, and I gave my guy the quarters. Like, hey, we're not wasting a bit here. Go hit him. So
I spent $10 on this roll of quarters. That's right. I know the price.
I didn't spend any money. I mean, they're just giving me as a here. Make sure you hand it to the guy. I'm like, all right, Nicole. So when Branch came over to me, I was like saying, listen, here's this. Don't go waste a good bit. So
there you go.
Clearly, he knocked some sense into him, so it's all good.
There you go. Right.
Well, either way, you're going to be wearing a suit and tie, right? No matter what you're doing.
A suit and tie.
Your outfit.
What are you referring to? I don't wear suits and ties.
I don't think I have it in my forte either.
I saw you. It looked like a suit and tie you were wearing.
I had the tie. I had the black tie with a red shirt on because I always wear red. But
okay.
I'm thinking about changing my look up here pretty soon. I found some acrylic shirts I can wear, like some like I've just given up kind of look. So I think about doing something like that here down there.
Okay. In other words, just be like where you are right now. Is that what? I don't know.
Look, if they got other managers who wear suits, let them wear their suits. I'm the Podfather. I do what the fuck I want to do.
So
gotcha.
That's my
thing. Guys, have a good week. We're out of here. Everybody take care. We'll catch you next Sunday on the Couch Potato Sports Show with NFL draft results. It's going to be good. We'll catch everybody. Thanks for Mint Mobile for the sponsorship. We're out of here, everybody. Bye-bye.